Family Farm, the true tree of the immortal dragon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 Fire Mulberry. Grandpa, these are 6 spiritual fruits. You will arrange for my uncle and aunt. The rest can be stored in our family's treasure house. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, no problem. I will tell them to keep it secret. By the way, the old man of the Lu family is still in retreat recently. I will go to match you up when he comes out. Ye Jiuhu said. Okay, Grandpa, there is no rush. Ye Changsheng said. You are not in a hurry, but Grandpa is. Lu one has dual spiritual roots. How bad can the baby you give birth to after marriage be? If Grandpa goes too late, it will be troublesome if someone else marries her. Ye Jiuhu said with a serious face. Grandpa is right. Ye Changsheng had to smile. The grandfather and grandson talked for a while, and Ye Changsheng bowed and left. After Ye Changsheng returned to his Changsheng garden, he came to the retreat room and came to the heavenly palace again. He came this time to find food for his 3-legged fire crow. I was too busy to take care of it before. This time Ye Changsheng planned to cultivate his spiritual beast, the 3-legged fire crow. After all, this is the offspring of a 4th level demon beast, and there is a trace of the true spiritual blood of the 3-legged golden crow. As long as the conditions are right, the 3-legged fire crow may be able to advance to the realm of the 3-legged golden crow. Ye Changsheng thought secretly in his heart and decided to go to Wanlingkao to have a look. There is the most complete spiritual grass and fruit trading place in the outermost ring of the entire Xiangan. The shopkeeper of Wanlingkao is an old man who has seen a lot. Ye Changsheng believes that he can definitely give some useful suggestions walking into Wanlingkao. Ye Changsheng saw the old shopkeeper at a glance. The old man smiled when he saw Ye Changsheng and said with a bow, Dao, what do you want to buy today? Ye Changsheng returned the greeting with a bow and said directly, Shopkeeper, I have a 2nd stage early fire type spirit beast. I would like to ask, what kind of spirit fruit is suitable for it to eat? The shopkeeper thought for a moment after hearing this, and then took out a thick illustration of spirit herbs and fruits from behind the counter. After turning a few pages, he pointed to several spirit fruits and said, Dao, here are 5 2nd stage spirit fruits, all of which are excellent food for fire type spirit beasts. They are flame fruit, red flame fruit, fire lotus seeds, flame heart fruit and fire mulberry. Ye Changsheng carefully read the introduction on the illustration and found that fire mulberry can not only provide rich spiritual power and enhance the flame power of fire type spirit beasts, but also the tree that bears mulberry is the 2nd stage top grade spirit plant fire hibiscus. Each tree can bear thousands of mulberries. Such a large amount of fruit is exactly what he needs. He nodded and said, let's choose fire mulberries. Shopkeeper, how much do these fire mulberries cost? The shopkeeper smiled and said, fire mulberries are 2nd level spiritual fruits, and each one is sold for 100 high grade spiritual stones. However, if you need to buy in large quantities, you can get a discount. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment and decided to buy some to try. He took out 200 high grade spiritual stones from the storage bag, handed them to the shopkeeper, and said, give me 2 fire mulberries first. The shopkeeper took the spiritual stones, turned around and took out an exquisite jade box from the locker behind the counter, in which 2 fire mulberries were neatly placed. Ye Changsheng took the jade box, nodded with satisfaction, and said goodbye, and left Wanlingkao. After returning to Changsheng garden, Ye Changsheng's mind moved, and he entered his fairy tree space. In the fairy tree space, the spiritual energy was rich, and all kinds of rare spiritual herbs and fruits grew around. Ye Changsheng walked to an open space, took out a drop of 2nd level fairy dew, and dropped it on a mature mulberry. The ground quickly cracked, and a hibiscus tree broke out of the ground and grew rapidly. In a moment, it grew into a tall 2nd level top grade hibiscus tree. The hibiscus tree was full of dense fire mulberries. Ye Changsheng roughly counted and found that there were more than 3,000. He was overjoyed. These fire mulberries were enough for the 3-legged fire crow. to eat for a long time. Ye Changsheng carefully collected these fire mulberries and put them into the storage bag. Then he moved his mind, left the fairy tree space, and returned to the real world point. After returning to the retreat room, Ye Changsheng summoned the three-legged fire crow. The three-legged fire crow saw its master, fluttered its wings excitedly, and made a cheerful cry. Ye Changsheng smiled and stroked the feathers of the three-legged fire crow, took out a fire mulberry from the storage bag, and handed it to the mouth of the three-legged fire crow. The three-legged fire crow smelled the aroma of fire mulberry, a trace of joy flashed in its eyes, and it opened its mouth to swallow the fire mulberry. After a while, the three-legged fire crow exuded a hot breath all over its body, and the flames on its feathers became more vigorous, which was obviously the effect of fire mulberry. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng was satisfied and decided to feed the three-legged fire crow a certain amount of fire mulberry every time, to help it improve its strength. From then on, Ye Changsheng would take time to feed the three-legged fire crow every time he came out of retreat, and observe its growth. As time went by, the strength of the three-legged fire crow gradually increased, the flames on its feathers became hotter and hotter, and its flying speed became faster and faster. After arranging the spiritual food for the three-legged fire crow, Ye Changsheng went into retreat again. Time flies. 3 months later, Ye Changsheng came out of retreat and found his two sons, Ye Changchen and Ye Chengyu, playing and frolicking. The two little guys have grown up a lot after not seeing them for a few months. Calculating the time, Ye Changsheng estimated that the two little guys were almost 4 years old, and some of the immortal cultivation resources used by ancient immortal families and super sects to cultivate young children should be used. Now thinking of this, Ye Changsheng returned to the retreat room again, and his mind came to the heavenly palace. He went straight to the Wanling Grass Hall, preparing to buy some immortal cultivation resources for his two sons. Wanling Kaotang is the largest spiritual herb trading place in the heavenly palace, where all kinds of rare and precious spiritual herbs and fruits are gathered. Entering Wanling Kaotang, Ye Changsheng walked straight to the counter. The shopkeeper was an elderly monk. Seeing Ye Changsheng, he smiled and asked, "What do you need, fellow Taoist?" Ye Changsheng came to the counter and took out a shengling fruit. "Fellow Taoist, I want to sell this shengling fruit." The shopkeeper's eyes lit up when he saw the shengling fruit. He picked it up and identified it for a long time, and finally nodded with satisfaction. He said, "Fellow Taoist, this shengling fruit is a rare thing. This spiritual fruit is extremely difficult to cultivate. It is usually obtained from the wild. Fellow Taoist's shengling is also of good quality. We will take as many as you have." "Oh, I wonder how many spirit stones you will give me for this shengling fruit, shopkeeper?" Ye Changsheng asked. "Fellow Taoist, you also know the rules of my Wanling Kaotang. Whether selling or buying, the price is fixed. Your price for this shengling fruit is 3,000 high-grade spirit stones." Ye Changsheng nodded. He felt that this price was about right, so he handed the remaining 25 shengling fruits to the shopkeeper and received 78,000 high-grade spirit stones. He actually had 27 shengling fruits left. He kept one shengling fruit as a seed, ready to use for reproduction in the future. Chapter 77 Spiritual Cultivation Grass. Ye Changsheng put the spirit stones into the storage bag, feeling satisfied, and then asked, "Shopkeeper, I have two sons who are almost 4 years old. I want to strengthen their qualifications for cultivating immortals. Is there any suitable method?" The shopkeeper thought for a moment and replied, 4-year-old children are a critical period for laying the foundation. If you want to strengthen your aptitude for cultivating immortals, you can consider spiritual grass. This spiritual grass can effectively increase the length of children's spiritual roots, thereby improving their cultivation speed. Ye Changsheng nodded to express his understanding. In the world of cultivating immortals, spiritual root qualifications are an important factor that determines the speed of cultivation. The fewer the number of spiritual roots, the faster the cultivation speed, but the length of the spiritual roots is equally important. The longer the spiritual root, the higher the efficiency of absorbing spiritual energy and the faster the cultivation speed. Spirit enhancing grass is a second level high grade spiritual grass used to increase the length of children's spiritual roots. The shopkeeper continued. Although the spirit building grass is precious, its effect is remarkable, especially for children around 4 years old. We happen to have a spirit burning grass here, and the price is 4,000 high grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng's heart moved, and he felt that, although the price was not low, the investment was worth it for the future of his 2 sons. Without hesitation, he took out 4,000 high grade spiritual stones and handed them to the shopkeeper. I want this spiritual cultivation grass. The shopkeeper took the spirit stone, smiled and handed the spirit cultivator to Ye Changsheng. Fellow Taoist is indeed a far-sighted person. Ye Changsheng took the spiritual grass and looked at it carefully and found that this spiritual grass was indeed full of spiritual energy and of high quality. Satisfied, he thanked the shopkeeper and left Wanling Cottage. Back home, Ye Changsheng carefully put the peeling grass into the storage bag. Ye Changsheng returned to reality and came to the space of the true dragon Immortal Tree with a thought. Ye Changsheng now has 4 drops of the second order fairy dew stored in the fairy tree space. Ye Changsheng returned to reality and with a thought, he came to the space of the true dragon Immortal Tree. At this time, he had 4 drops of second level fairy dew stored in the fairy tree space. Ye Changsheng took out a drop of second level fairy dew from the space of the fairy tree and carefully dropped it on the spiritual cultivator under the nourishment of the fairy dew. I saw that the spirit grass grew and matured rapidly, heading and producing seeds. A plump ear of seeds soon grew from the top, while the branches and leaves of the persimmon gradually withered and eventually turned into ashes. Ye Changsheng looked at this scene and marveled secretly. He originally only expected that the spirit practice grass would grow rapidly under the influence of the second level immortal dew, but he did not expect that it would directly produce seeds. This discovery made him realize that he seemed to have found a new idea for cultivating spiritual grass. He carefully collected the seeds of the spike spirit grass and counted them carefully. There were 64 seeds in total. Ye Changsheng carefully collected these baling grass seeds and already had a new plan in mind. Then, Ye Changsheng took out 2 seeds of baling grass from the storage bag and planted them in the spiritual soil. Then, he took out 2 drops of second level fairy dew again and dropped them on the 2 seeds respectively. Under the nourishment of the fairy dew, the 2 plants of the spiritual prayer grass grew and matured rapidly, but they did not bear ears. Ye Changsheng looked at the 2 mature cultivars in front of him, and he became more sure of his guess. In order for the cultivars to produce seeds, another drop of second level fairy dew was needed. He carefully collected the 2 spiritual cultivars and left the fairy tree space with satisfaction. Ye Changsheng left the retreat room, went to the front yard, and found Li Qian and Zhao Weina. Qian, Wana, I have 2 second level spiritual grasses here that can enhance the spiritual root qualifications of Chenna and Jua. You find time to give it to them, so that when they test their spiritual roots at the age of 8, the quality of their spiritual roots will be better. Ye Changsheng said, yes, husband. The 2 women replied, Chenna and Jua are truly blessed to have a father like you. Zhao Weina sighed. Haha, what's the matter? This is how other big families train their descendants. I'm just following the example. Ye Changsheng said. Then the 3 of them chatted about some matters related to spiritual practice, and Ye Changsheng gave the 2 girls answers. Another 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Ye Changsheng came out of seclusion again. Because Ye Changsheng has advanced to build the foundation for a year, the 3rd level of immortal dew has been generated in the space of the true dragon Immortal Tree. With a thought in his mind, Ye Changsheng came to the fairy tree space again. I saw that there were already 4 drops of second level fairy dew in the stone jar under the first faucet. There is also a drop of spiritual 3rd level fairy dew under the second faucet. Ye Changsheng took out the second drop of the 3rd level immortal dew from the majestic Ling Yun and dropped it on the core of the Xianling fruit that had been prepared. This core was what Ye Changsheng had eaten last time. It looked ordinary on the outside, but it contained endless vitality and spiritual power inside. The fairy dew dripped on the fruit core and was absorbed by the core instantly. A faint golden light appeared on the surface of the fruit core, and then it began to tremble slightly. After a while, the core cracked open, and a green seedling broke out of it and grew rapidly. Under the nourishment of spiritual energy, the seedlings grow taller at a speed visible to the naked eye, and their branches and leaves spread rapidly, becoming emerald green. In less than half a stick of incense, a third level high grade shineling fruit tree with shining aura has grown. The trunk is tall and straight. The branches and leaves are luxuriant, and each leaf exudes a faint spiritual light, as if it contains endless spiritual power. This shineling fruit tree is completely different from ordinary fruit trees. The trunk is covered with fine spiritual patterns, as if the spiritual energy between heaven and earth is converging on it. The branches were full of 12 heavenly spiritual fruits, each of which was crystal clear and exuded a rich spiritual essence. There was a faint spiritual light flowing on the surface of the fruit, as if it contained endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Ye Changsheng looked at the shining heavenly spiritual fruit tree and couldn't help sighing in his heart. This is a spiritual fruit that can improve the spiritual root qualifications of foundation building cultivators. Each cultivator can eat up to 3. Ye Changsheng has already taken one, and the qualifications of his spiritual roots have been significantly improved. He reached out and picked a heavenly spiritual fruit. The fruit was as warm as jade and exuded a faint fragrance. Ye Changsheng gently took a bite of the heavenly spiritual fruit, and the flesh melted in his mouth, turning into a rich spiritual power flowing in his body. The spiritual power was like a warm spring, quickly penetrating his limbs and bones, nourishing his meridians and danshan. Ye Changsheng closed his eyes and carefully felt the flow of this spiritual power. As the spiritual power poured in, he felt that the spiritual roots in his body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of warm light, gradually becoming purer and stronger. Each meridian becomes stronger under the nourishment of spiritual power, and the spiritual energy in the danshan becomes more abundant. Ye Changsheng can clearly feel that his spiritual root qualifications are gradually improving, and the speed and effect of cultivation will be greatly enhanced. This feeling is so wonderful, as if the whole body is being cleansed and tempered again. Ye Changsheng's spiritual consciousness has also become more acute, and he can feel the subtle changes in the spiritual energy of the surrounding heaven and earth. Chapter 78 Sword Grass. Ye Changsheng carefully put the remaining 11 shineling fruits into 2 jade boxes. One jade box contained 3 shineling fruits, and the other jade box contained 8 shineling fruits. Ye Changsheng's mind moved, and he returned to the real world. After packing up, he took a deep breath and walked towards his grandfather Ye Jiuhu's residence. Ye Jiuhu was sitting at the stone table in the courtyard, holding an ancient book in his hand. With a focused expression. Seeing Ye Changsheng coming, he put down the book and showed a kind smile on his face. Changsheng, come and sit. Ye Jiuhu greeted. Grandpa. Ye Changsheng bowed respectfully, then took out a jade box from his arms, gently placed it on the stone table, opened the lid of the box, and revealed the 3 shineling fruits inside. A trace of doubt flashed across Ye Jiuhu's eyes. What kind of fruit is this? It looks extraordinary, Grandpa. This is the heavenly spiritual fruit, Ye Changsheng explained, his eyes flashing with excitement. This spiritual fruit is extremely precious and can improve the spiritual root qualifications of foundation building cultivators. However, each person can only take 3 at most, otherwise the effect will decrease. I suggest that you take one when you encounter a bottleneck in foundation building, which should have a good effect. Ye Jiuhu was shocked after hearing this. Ye Jiuhu's eyes flashed with shock, and then his expression became serious. Heavenly spirit fruit? This kind of spiritual fruit is extremely rare in legends, but it actually exists. Changsheng, where did you get it from? Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and explained, I got it in the heavenly palace by chance. The process was a bit complicated. Ye Jiuhu took a deep breath, with complex emotions flashing in his eyes. Changsheng, it's amazing that you can find such a precious spiritual fruit. However, this matter must not be spread outside. The existence of the heavenly spirit fruit is too amazing. If it is known by someone with ulterior motives, it will probably cause endless trouble. I understand, Grandpa. Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly. I will keep it secret and not let anyone know. Such good fortunes come one after another. Changsheng, don't get carried away. Remember that cultivation is our foundation. Have You practiced all the spells that have advanced to the foundation building stage, Ye. Jiuhu asked, replying to Grandpa. They have all been practiced, Ye. Jiuhu nodded. Since you have no shortage of cultivation resources, you can work harder on other magical powers. I remember that the Purple Mansion Changsheng Sutra records a life-saving magic weapon called the Zhuangguang sword. It is very powerful after being practiced. You can try it, Ye. Jiuhu said. Okay, Grandpa. Ye Changsheng bowed. Ye Jiuhu nodded, and then his expression became cheerful. Changsheng, I'm just about to leave, because there is news that the ancestor of the Lu family will come out of seclusion in the next few days. Ye Changsheng was full of gratitude. Grandpa, you have worked hard for me, silly boy. Don't I also hope that you will have more branches and leaves soon? Ye Jiuhu said with a smile. By the way, why haven't Li Qian and Zhaowana made any moves in the past few years? Ye Jiuhu said. They? Ye Changsheng was a little embarrassed. After all, he still had some modern thinking and didn't want to make things too difficult for the two girls in this regard. HMPH, with our Yi family's spiritual land and cultivation resources, their pregnancy won't delay their cultivation progress for long. I won't tell you about this. I'll ask your mother to come over later. Yes, Grandpa. Ye Changsheng bowed. Then the grandfather and the grandfather talked about many things about cultivation. Ye Changsheng began to study the Zhuangguan sword in the retreat room. The main body of the Zhuangguan sword is the main leaf of the sword grass. The sword grass is a spiritual grass full of sword energy, which can assist sword cultivators in practicing sword intent. Generally, sword cultivators like this kind of spiritual grass the most. This main leaf can be taken from each sword grass at most 3. And the Zhuangguan sword requires 12 of the sword grass leaves, that is, 4 mature sword grasses are needed. So the Zhuangguan sword is actually 12 swords, forming a 12 Zhuangguan sword formation, which is extremely sharp and can be challenged by foundation building cultivators. That is, the early foundation building cultivator can challenge the middle foundation building cultivator and win the battle. In order to cast this Zhuangguang sword, in addition to the leaves of the sword grass, 3 main auxiliary materials, ice soul crystal, purple gold sand, and bronze essence, as well as more than a dozen other minor auxiliary materials are needed. Ye Changsheng used a jade slip to list these things. After tidying up, he sat on the altar of the heavenly palace again. With a thought, he came to the heavenly palace again. Ye Changsheng first came to the Wanling Grass Hall to ask about the whereabouts of the sword grass. The shopkeeper of the Wanling Grass Hall was a white-haired old man. He looked up at Ye Changsheng, shook his head slightly and said, my fellow Taoist, we don't have spiritual herbs like sword grass here. However, you can go to the Giant Xiu Pavilion to have a look. It is a store that specializes in selling sword repair items. It should be sold. Ye Changsheng nodded, thanked the shopkeeper, turned around and left, and walked towards the Giant Xiu Pavilion. The Giant Xiu Pavilion is an ancient building with a plaque hanging at the door, with 3 big characters Giant Xiu Pavilion written on it, with vigorous pen power and extraordinary momentum. Ye Changsheng walked into the sword cultivation pavilion, and a young man came up to him and asked enthusiastically, fellow Daoist, what do you need? Ye Changsheng said directly, I need to buy sword grass. The man was slightly stunned after hearing this, and then smiled and said, fellow Daoist, you have a good eye. We happen to have spiritual herbs like sword grass for sale here. However, the price is not cheap. Ye Changsheng nodded to show his understanding and asked, how much is a sword grass? The waiter held up 2 fingers and said with a smile, 200 high-grade spirit stones for 1 sword grass. Ye Changsheng calculated it in his mind and thought the price was reasonable, so he said, okay, I want 1. The waiter nodded, turned around and took out a sword grass from behind the counter, and handed it to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng took the sword grass, and looked at it carefully. The sword grass was green all over, with slender leaves and faintly exuding a sharp sword energy. It was indeed a top-grade spirit grass. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction, and paid 200 high-grade spirit stones afterwards. He bought 3 main auxiliary materials, ice soul crystal, purple gold sand, and bronze essence, as well as more than a dozen other secondary auxiliary materials in the sword cultivation pavilion, spending a total of 300 high-grade spirit stones. After doing all this, Ye Changsheng returned to the real world point with a thought. He came to the fairy tree space again. The fairy tree space is full of spiritual energy and beautiful environment, which is an excellent place to grow spirit grass. Ye Changsheng first picked the 3 main leaves of the sword grass, and then planted the sword grass in the fairy tree space. He took out a drop of 2nd level fairy dew from the storage bag and carefully dripped it on the root of the sword grass. The sword grass quickly absorbed the fairy dew, and after a while, the grass spikes of the sword grass began to bear fruit. As the grass spikes matured, the rest of the sword grass gradually turned into ashes. Ye Changsheng obtained a total of 24 sword grass seeds. He took out 3 sword grass seeds and dripped 3 drops of 2nd level fairy dew into each point. In a flash, the 3 sword grasses grew rapidly and matured in a moment. Ye Changsheng took 3 main leaves from each of them, so he obtained a total of 12 sword grass main leaves. Ye Changsheng looked at the 12 sword grass main leaves in his hand, and his heart was full of a sense of accomplishment. He knew that the next step was the critical moment of casting the Zhuangguang sword. Chapter 79 12 Mysterious Light Swords. Ye Changsheng's mind moved, and he flashed out of the fairy tree space and came to the retreat room. In the retreat room, the air was filled with rich spiritual energy. He sat cross-legged, with 12 sword grass main leaves and several precious auxiliary materials in front of him. Ice soul crystal, purple gold sand, bronze essence, and more than a dozen other secondary auxiliary materials. These materials each emit different light, forming a strange balance with each other. First, he arranged the 12 sword grass main leaves neatly on the refining table, making sure that each main leaf was flawless. Then, he placed the ice soul crystal in the center, the purple gold sand and bronze essence on both sides, and the other secondary auxiliary materials were evenly distributed around. Then, he took out a crystal clear spirit stone from the storage ring. This was a high-grade spirit stone especially prepared to provide the huge spiritual power required in the refining process. Ye Changsheng placed the spirit stone in the center of the refining table, and with a light wave of his hands, the spirit stone floated in the air and began to rotate slowly. He muttered something, formed a complex seal with his hands, and a light blue light flashed on his fingertips as the seal was completed. The spirit stone suddenly burst into a dazzling light, and the spiritual power surged towards the 12 main leaves of the sword grass like a tide. Then, Ye Changsheng took a deep breath, put his hands together, and guided the foundation building true fire in his body. This true fire was deep red, extremely hot, and exuded a hot breath. He condensed the true fire in his palm and slowly guided it to the refining table. The true fire gushed out from his fingertips and quickly wrapped around the ice soul crystal. The ice soul crystal gradually melted under the high temperature and turned into a crystal clear liquid. Then, he put the purple gold sand and bronze essence into it, and the true fire continued to burn, causing the 2 materials to gradually merge into one. Finally, he put in the other secondary auxiliary materials one by one, and a strong spiritual energy fluctuation broke out instantly. Ye Changsheng carefully controlled the true fire and evenly applied these melted materials on the main leaves of the sword grass. Each main leaf was carefully covered by him to ensure that the spiritual power could fully penetrate. As time went by, the main leaves of the sword grass gradually absorbed the essence of these materials and began to emit a dazzling light. As soon as the true fire touched the main leaves of the sword grass, it made a kai sound, as if some kind of mysterious fusion was taking place. Ye Changsheng carefully controlled the temperature and intensity of the true fire to ensure that each main leaf of the sword grass could be evenly tempered by the true fire. Fine beads of sweat began to ooze out of his forehead, but he didn't care. His eyes were always focused on the refining table. As time went by, the main leaves of the sword grass gradually became transparent, and the sword intent inside began to appear, as if a small sword was swimming in it. When the 12 main leaves of the sword grass were completely transparent, Ye Changsheng knew that the first step had been completed. He formed a seal again, condensed the true fire into a thin line, and slowly connected the 12 main leaves of the sword grass in series. This step requires extremely high control and patience. If you are not careful, all your previous efforts will be wasted. Ye Changsheng held his breath his fingers trembling slightly, but he still steadily passed the thin line of true fire through each main leaf of the sword grass. Finally, when the last main leaf was connected in series, Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief, and a gratified smile appeared on his face. Next, he put the connected main leaves of the sword grass into a special refining furnace. This second level inferior refining furnace was purchased by him in the heavenly palace before, and it cost 800 high grade spirit stones. The interior of the refining furnace is engraved with a complex array, which can maximize the refining effect. Ye Changsheng once again guided the foundation building true fire, injected it into the refining furnace, and activated the array at the same time. In the refining furnace, the power of the true fire and the array intertwined to form a small spiritual power vortex. The main leaves of the sword grass kept spinning in the vortex. Ye Changsheng kept making seals with his hands, muttering something in his mouth, controlling every detail in the refining furnace. As time passed, Ye Changsheng's face gradually turned pale, and the spiritual power in his body was also rapidly consumed. But he still gritted his teeth and persisted, his eyes full of determination. Finally, when the last seal was completed, a dazzling light burst out from the refining furnace, as if a small sun rose in it. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath, waved his hands, and slowly opened the lid of the refining furnace. 12 silver lights flew out of the furnace and hovered in the air. It was the Zhuangguang sword. The Zhuangguang sword was silver white, with complex runes engraved on the sword body, exuding a strong sword intent, as if ready to cut off everything at any time. Ye Changsheng looked at the Zhuangguang sword with a satisfied smile on his face. He stretched out his hand and the 12 Zhuangguang swords flew back to his hand, and the sword body trembled slightly, as if responding to his call. Each of the 12 Zhuangguang swords reached the level of the second grade upper grade, and because he used the main leaf of the sword grass, he could control it effortless. There was no situation where he could not control an ordinary second grade upper grade flying sword. The next step was for Ye Changsheng to drive the 12 Zhuangguang swords to start the experiment. As soon as he thought about it, the Zhuangguang swords began to dance like living things, and the sword lights intertwined to form silver rays of light. Ye Changsheng focused his eyes, and with a slight movement of his fingers, the 12 Zhuangguang swords flew towards the wall of the retreat room. The Zhuangguang swords drew silver arcs in the air, and the runes on the swords flashed with dazzling light. The sword intent surged like a tide, and the entire retreat room was filled with a sharp aura. The Zhuangguang sword lightly touched the wall, and it cut the hard stone wall effortless like cutting tofu. Chi-chi-chi. A series of subtle cutting sounds were heard, and the stones on the wall fell one after another, making a dull impact sound. The cut section was as smooth as a mirror, as if it had been carefully polished, without any trace of roughness. Ye Changsheng looked at this scene, and secretly marveled at the sharpness and power of the Zhuangguang sword. He waved his hand again, and the Zhuangguang sword quickly returned to his side, and the sword body trembled slightly, as if responding to his call. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction, and had a deeper understanding of the power of the Zhuangguang sword in his heart. It really deserves to be the Zhuangguang sword. It is extremely sharp. Ye Changsheng murmured to himself, with a gratified smile on his face. Ye Changsheng put away the Zhuangguang sword, and the retreat room returned to peace. He began to collect the fallen rocks in the retreat room, and repaired the walls of the retreat room. It took a long time. It seems that practicing sword skills cannot be done in a small retreat room. Ye Changsheng then left the retreat room, and came to the cliff behind Kinghu Peak. He began to formally practice the 12 mysterious light sword art. A few days later, Ye Jiuhu returned from the Lu family on King Fengpan. Soon after returning, he summoned Ye Changsheng. Changsheng, the big thing has been decided. The Lu family has agreed to your marriage with Lu Wan. Ye Jiuhu looked a little excited. Lu Wan is a genius girl of the Lu family. She is the best choice in terms of qualifications and appearance. Changsheng, you must treat her well. Ye Jiuhu said. Yes, grandpa, I will cherish Lu Wan even more. Ye Changsheng bowed. Chapter 80 Remarriage. The date has been set. The Ye family will send someone to marry her in a month. The Lu family wants a foundation building cultivator. I think I should go there. Ye Dongren is my uncle. We shouldn't trouble him. Ye Jiuhu said. Okay, grandpa. Ye Changsheng completely obeyed Grandpa Ye Jiuhu on these matters. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Ye Changsheng has been practicing the 12 mysterious light sword techniques for a month. Since the sword techniques are extremely difficult to practice, Ye Changsheng has not yet entered the door in a month. Today is the day for Lu Wan to enter the door. Qinghu Peak is decorated with lights and colors, and the atmosphere is joyful. Red lanterns are hung high, and ribbons flutter in the wind. The whole mountain is immersed in a sea of festivity. The disciples are busy shuttling in every corner, arranging every detail to ensure that everything is perfect. Lu Wan is wearing a red wedding dress and a red cloth head, which makes her look particularly charming. There is a hint of shyness on her face, but she can't hide her inner joy. Ye Changsheng was dressed in wedding clothes, handsome and tall, with gentleness and doting in his eyes. The two stood in the center of the hall, accepting the blessings of everyone. The wedding ceremony began. As the master of ceremonies sang loudly, Lu Wan and Ye Changsheng saluted the heaven and earth, the ancestors and each other. In turn. Every action seemed solemn and sacred, as if declaring their commitment to each other. After the ceremony, everyone applauded and congratulated, and laughter filled the entire hall. After the wedding ceremony, Ye Changsheng took Lu Wan's delicate hand, and said to her gently, "Let's go. Let's go to the bridal chamber." Lu Wan bowed her head and responded lightly, with a blush on her face. The two walked hand in hand slowly towards the bridal chamber. Along the way, the family members sent blessings and laughter in the bridal chamber. Red candles were shining, the walls were covered with happy characters, and the bed was covered with a red brocade quilt, which looked particularly warm. Ye Changsheng gently uncovered Lu Wan's red cloth, revealing her beautiful face. He looked at her affectionately and said softly, "From now on, we are husband and wife." Lu Wan nodded shyly. At this moment, fireworks bloomed in the night sky of Qinghu Peak, illuminating the entire valley. The next morning, Lu Wan got up early and dressed up. And pulled Ye Changsheng, who wanted to stay in bed, and the two went to the Qinghu Peak family hall together to serve tea to the elders. All the elders praised Lu Wan and thought she was virtuous, sensible, and talented. There was nothing to say. On that day, under the witness of Ye Jiuhu, Lu Wan swore an oath not to reveal all the secrets of the Ye family. Ye Changsheng taught Lu Wan the second level upper grade technique 5 element cloud rising sutra. Lu Wan was extremely grateful, because even in the old fashioned Lu family, the highest technique was only the second level middle grade, which was to cultivate to the middle stage of foundation building. Because the amount of the betrothal gift was very rare at the request of the Ye family. But Lu Wan was told by the ancestor of the Lu family that the betrothal gift of the Ye family was extremely generous this time. It was indeed extraordinary. On the first day of entering the house, he was given a second level superior technique. Moreover, the tea gifts given by the elders and even Li Kan and Zaowana were very generous. This shows that her cultivation resources are basically not lacking here. The cultivation resources of the Ye family are so rich, and her foundation building resources in the future may be faster and richer than in the Lu family. Thinking of this, Lu Wan looked at Ye Changsheng with a more gentle look. Lu Wan has found a good husband, Wana. This is a pregnancy fruit, a strange fruit that helps female cultivators get pregnant. You can take it recently, Ye Changsheng said. "Oh, it's such a strange fruit. I did hear about it before, but I didn't expect to see it today," Lu Wan said with surprise. "Also, this is the Immortal Ascension pair that can help you advance to an unlimited level. You are now at the 9th level of key refining. After you take an Immortal Ascension pair, although it cannot help you break through to the foundation establishment stage, it can help you break through to the peak of the 9th level of key refining." Ye Changsheng had 2 Immortal Ascension pairs left last time, and this time he gave them all to Lu Wan. "Thank you, husband." Lu Wan kissed Ye Changsheng a few days ago. This time, it was a spiritual fruit that was very useful for her cultivation, and there were 2 of them at once. It can be seen that the Ye family is very rich. As for Ye Changsheng didn't finish. But Lu Wan's heart was lifted. "As for your foundation building resources, I can only say that I can provide you with a foundation building pill," Ye Changsheng said. "Thank you, husband." Lu Wan bowed down directly. "From now on, I'm a member of the Ye family in my life and a ghost of the Ye family in my death." Lu One pointed her right finger to the sky and swore, "No need to do this. You are my wife. This is what you deserve." Ye Changsheng laughed. "No, this is what I should do." After Lu Wan finished speaking, she hugged Ye Changsheng tightly. More than half a month later, when Ye Changsheng was being intimate with Lu Wan, Ye Jiuhu sent a message to him, asking him to go to Tiger Garden for a meeting point. When Ye Changsheng arrived at the Tiger Garden meeting room, his grandfather Ye Jiuhu, the supreme elder Ye Dangren, and the clan leader Ye Jialang were already there. Changsheng greets his great uncle, grandfather, and clan leader. Ye Changsheng bowed and said, "No need to be polite." Ye Jiuhu waved his hand and said, "Today, I asked you to come here to discuss the spiritual vein problem of Kingsu Peak, the main peak of our Ye family. Your great uncle has already established his foundation, but the spiritual veins of Kingsu Peak are insufficient, which has affected his practice. In addition, our Ye family already has 3 9th level key refining cultivators. They will also try to establish their foundation in the next few years. By then, Kingsu Peak will no longer be a foundation building cultivator and will still face the problem of insufficient spiritual veins. Now, this matter has reached the point where it cannot be resolved." Ye Jiuhu said, "I can support you a little. I wonder how many spiritual stones the clan has prepared and how much is still missing." Ye Changsheng looked calm, as if he had expected it. "Now, the clan has raised 200,000 spiritual stones. I went to Fenglai Market to ask during this period. The second level lower grade spiritual array plus the spiritual bead require 700,000 spiritual stones, and there is still a gap of 500,000. Ye Jialang said, point after raising so much, it seems that the spiritual stones in the secret library have also been taken out. Ye Changsheng estimated that this time he would not be able to do it without bleeding. However, 500,000 spirit stones are only 5,000 high grade spirit stones for Ye Changsheng, which is just the cost of going to the heavenly palace. He doesn't care about it at all, but he can't show it outside. Everyone is looking at him nervously. "I will sell everything I have for a few days, and I should be able to provide 500,000 spirit stones." Ye Changsheng said, "Thank you." Hearing that Ye Changsheng agreed, Ye Jialang was very excited and stood up and bowed. "But the clan can't take your things for nothing. All resources, including the spirit fruits you handed in before, will be converted into contribution points in the clan according to the market price." Ye Dangren said. Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng nodded. Chapter 81 Family Trial Field. The 4 people communicated and exchanged some other family matters, then they dispersed. Ye Changsheng then returned to the Changsheng garden and came to the retreat room. He turned around and sat on the altar of the heavenly palace and came to the heavenly palace with a thought. Above the heavenly palace, it was still so bustling and lively, with various shops lined up and monks coming and going, bustling with people. Ye Changsheng walked through several streets and finally saw a shop called Ling Shifang in a conspicuous place. A simple wooden sign hangs at the door of the shop with the words "Exchange Spiritual Stones. Children and old men are not deceived" written on it. Ye Changsheng pushed the door open and walked in. The interior of the store was elegantly decorated, and the surrounding walls were inlaid with various spiritual stones, shining with different lights. There was a middle-aged man standing behind the counter, wearing a blue robe, smiling and looking very kind. "Fellow Taoist, do you need any help?" The middle-aged man saw Ye Changsheng coming in and greeted him warmly. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly, walked to the counter, and said, "I want to exchange some spiritual stones." The middle-aged man nodded and motioned for Ye Changsheng to continue. "I have 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones here, and I want to exchange them for low-grade spiritual stones." Ye Changsheng took out a small bag from his storage bag and handed it to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man took the bag and opened it. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. He carefully checked the quality of the spirit stone, and after confirming that it was correct, he said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist, spirit stone is of high quality. According to our store's exchange ratio, 1 high-grade spirit stone can be exchanged for 110 low-grade spirit stones. 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones can be exchanged for 550,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng nodded and agreed. The middle-aged man turned around and took out several large bags from the locker behind the counter, which were filled with low-grade spiritual stones. He placed the bag on the counter, carefully counted it, and after confirming that the quantity was correct, handed the bag to Ye Changsheng. Fellow Taoist, this is 550,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Please check them. The middle-aged man said. Ye Changsheng took the bag, scanned it with his consciousness, and after confirming that it was correct, nodded with satisfaction. Thank you, fellow Taoist, and have a pleasant transaction. The middle-aged man smiled and cupped his hands and said, you're welcome, fellow Taoist, and welcome to visit next time. Ye Changsheng put the spirit stones into his storage bag, turned around and left Lingxi Square. Team Ye Changsheng exchanged these 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones and still has 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones with him. He continued to wander around the Xianggang because he could not learn the 12 mysterious light sword techniques for a long time, so he planned to find a way to improve his swordsmanship in the Xianggang. Ye Changsheng came to Wanling Cottage. Ye Changsheng often came here to sell elixirs before, so he had a fairly good relationship with the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper is a grey-haired old man with profound wisdom in his eyes. Shopkeeper, I heard that you are well informed here. Could you tell me some ways to improve your swordsmanship? Ye Changsheng asked respectfully. The old man smiled slightly, stroked his beard, and said, young friend Ye, you have found the right place. In some places in the second to last ring of the Xianggang, there is indeed a family trial field for sale. This kind of trial ground can simulate various the swordsmanship environment, greatly improves the practitioner's swordsmanship. Thank you, shopkeeper. If it weren't for you, it would have been a long time before I knew this information. Ye Changsheng said. After Ye Changsheng thanked the shopkeeper, he left the Wanling Cottage and walked straight towards the penultimate ring of the Xianggang. The penultimate ring of the Heavenly Palace is a bustling commercial district that gathers countless cultivation resources and treasures. Ye Changsheng secretly rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, he got the guidance from the manager of Wanling Caotang. Otherwise, he really doesn't know how much time it would take to find a suitable family training ground. Not long after leaving, Ye Changsheng arrived at the Baozan Pavilion, where the family treasure trove was sold last time. The facade of Baozan Pavilion is still very majestic. There is a huge plaque hanging at the door with the 3 characters Baozan Pavilion written on it. The golden light is shining and impressive. Ye Changsheng pushed the door open and was greeted by a shopkeeper wearing a gorgeous robe. When the shopkeeper saw Ye Changsheng, he smiled slightly, cupped his hands and said, what does this fellow Taoist do for you? Ye Changsheng returned the gift and said, shopkeeper, I heard that your store sells family training grounds. Is it true? The shopkeeper nodded and said with a smile, that's true. Our Baozan Pavilion's family training ground has a wide variety of types and is of high quality, which will definitely meet the needs of fellow Taoists. I don't know what level of training ground you need. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and said, I need a second level high level family training ground that can simulate various swordsmanship environments and improve the practitioner's swordsmanship. Hearing this, a hint of admiration flashed in the shopkeeper's eyes, and he said, fellow Taoist really has a unique vision. We happen to have several second level high grade family training grounds here, which will definitely meet the needs of fellow Taoist. Please come with me. After saying that, the shopkeeper led Ye Changsheng into the inner hall of Baozan Pavilion. The inner hall is spacious and bright, and displays a variety of treasures, which is dazzling and dazzling. The shopkeeper walked to a counter, pointed to a few jade slips and said, what are recorded on these jade slips are the 4 second level high grade family training grounds currently sold in Baozan Pavilion. Fellow Taoist, you can read the introduction first. Ye Changsheng nodded, picked up the first jade slip, and penetrated it with his spiritual consciousness. The jade slip detailed the situation of the first family trial field. This trial field is called Sword Shadow Mystery, with 36 sword formations arranged inside, and hundreds of second level low grade sword puppets in the formation, which can simulate 36 different sword attack modes, suitable for all kinds of sword practitioners. To hone their skills, Ye Changsheng put down the first jade slip and picked up the second jade slip. The second trial field is called Sword Heart Illusion, with 48 illusion formations arranged inside, and more than 300 second level middle grade sword puppets in the formation, which can transform into 48 different sword environments, greatly improving the practitioner's sword perception ability. Then, Ye Changsheng checked the third and fourth jade slips. The third trial field is called Sword Intention Mountains and Rivers, with 72 sword formations and illusion formations arranged inside, and thousands of second level middle grade sword puppets in the formation, which can simulate 72 different sword attack modes and environments, suitable for high level sword practitioners. To improve comprehensively. The fourth trial field is called Kendo Heavenly Palace, which has 108 sword arrays and illusion arrays arranged inside. There are thousands of second level high quality sword puppets in the array, which can transform into 108 different sword environments and attack modes. It is the most advanced of the 4 trial fields. After reading the introduction of the 4 trial fields, Ye Changsheng secretly marveled at the strength of the treasure array pavilion. No matter which of these 4 trial fields, it is enough to benefit sword practitioners. After weighing the pros and cons, Ye Changsheng finally decided to choose the 4th trial field, Kendo Heavenly Palace. Although it is expensive, its functions and effects are undoubtedly the most comprehensive and powerful. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Sword Heaven Palace. Ye Changsheng raised his head and said to the shopkeeper, "Shopkeeper, I have decided to purchase the training ground of Kendo Heavenly Palace. I wonder what the price is." The shopkeeper smiled slightly and said, "Fellow Taoist, you really have a unique vision. Sword Deo Heavenly Palace is the most advanced second level high grade trial site in our Baos and Pavilion, and the price is 150,000 high grade spiritual stones." Ye Changsheng frowned slightly. When he heard this, the spiritual stones in his hand were not enough to pay the fee. After thinking for a moment, Ye Changsheng said, "Shopkeeper, I don't have enough spirit stones in my hand. Can you wait a moment? I'll go to other shops to sell some resources, and I'll buy them again after I collect the spirit stones." The shopkeeper nodded and said with a smile, "Of course. Fellow Taoist, please do as you please. Our Bao Zen Pavilion is always waiting for you." Ye Changsheng cupped his hands and thanked him, turned around and left Bao Zen Pavilion. He secretly calculated in his mind that he had 7 heavenly spirit fruits in his hand that could be traded. If he could find a suitable buyer, he should be able to gather the required spiritual stone. So, he decided to try his luck at the elixir market in Xianggang. The elixir market in Xianggang is also bustling, with a dazzling array of elixirs and fruits, attracting countless cultivators to buy. Ye Changsheng shuttled through the market, looking for suitable buyers. After some inquiring, he finally found a store that specialized in purchasing spiritual fruits and seemed very capable. The shopkeeper was a middle-aged man. When he saw Ye Changsheng coming in, he greeted him enthusiastically. Ye Changsheng explained the purpose of his visit. The shopkeeper carefully inspected the Xianling fruit that Ye Changsheng took out, nodded with satisfaction, and said, "These Xianling fruits are of high quality. I'm willing to pay 25,000 high-grade spiritual stones for each." Ye Changsheng was overjoyed. In this way, the spiritual stones in his hand would be enough to purchase the Sword Deo Heavenly Palace. He agreed to the shopkeeper's price without hesitation, received 175,000 high-grade spiritual stones, and completed the transaction. After getting the spirit stone, Ye Changsheng immediately returned to Baos and Pavilion. When the shopkeeper saw him coming back, he greeted him with a smile. Ye Changsheng handed over 150,000 high-grade spiritual stones to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper nodded, took out a jade slip and an oversized storage bag, and handed them to Ye Changsheng, saying, "Fellow Taoist, this is the Sword Deo Heavenly Palace and it's the control jade slips are recorded in them, and Taoist friends can check them carefully." Ye Changsheng took the jade slip, thanked the shopkeeper again, turned around and left Bao's and pavilion. Ye Changsheng returned from the second to last ring of the Heavenly Palace to the first ring of the Heavenly Palace, and finally returned to the real world. Ye Changsheng immediately sent 500,000 low-grade spiritual stones to the eagerly awaited clan leader Ye Jialan. Ye Jialan thanked him repeatedly. Ye Changsheng found his grandfather Ye Jiuhu with the family training ground of Kendo Heavenly Palace. Grandpa, I have perfected the 12 mysterious light swords, but I have never been able to learn the 12 mysterious light sword techniques. I had no choice but to go to the Heavenly Palace and bleed profusely. Ye Changsheng said to Ye Jiuhu with a smile. You have always been so lavish. Tell me, how many spiritual stones did you spend this time? Ye Jiuhu laughed. Ye Changsheng made a 15 sign. 1.5 million. Ye Jiuhu guessed. Not that much. It's 150,000. Ye Changsheng said. Ye Jiuhu breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. However, it is just a high-grade spiritual stone. Ye Changsheng added another sentence. What? 15,000 high-grade spiritual stones? Isn't that 15 million spiritual stones, you loser? Ye Jiuhu was a little angry. He never expected that his grandson could spend money so much. Grandpa, don't worry, this family training ground is the legacy of our Ye family for generations. With this, we don't have to worry about our monks not being able to fight in the future. For example, although you have just broken through to the 3rd level of foundation building, your fighting ability is still very lacking. If there is any battle, you will be in danger, even if you have King Fengpeng. Why don't we practice our skills at home? Don't you also say that your own cultivation and combat effectiveness are the foundation? That's what I say, but it's still too extravagant. Ye Jiuhu frowned and nodded. Grandpa, don't you take a look for yourself. I guarantee that after reading it, you will definitely feel that it is worth your money. Ye Changsheng excitedly took the storage bag containing the Kendo Heavenly Palace and hurried to the back mountain of Qinghu Peak with Ye Jiuhu Point. After arriving at the back mountain, Ye Changsheng took out the Kendo Heavenly Palace from the storage bag. Ye Changsheng smiled softly, flicked his fingers, opened the storage bag slightly, and a bright light overflowed from it, turning into the shadow of a majestic palace, which was the Sword Heavenly Palace. As it appeared, the surrounding spiritual energy seemed to be stirred by it, and a vast sword intent filled the air. Grandpa, look, this is a Kendo Heavenly Palace. Ye Changsheng introduced proudly, his eyes shining with expectation. Ye Jiuhu stared at the Sword Heavenly Palace that was gradually taking shape in front of him. His face was stunned at first, and then turned to shock. The palace was not only majestic, but every brick and tile seemed to contain the secrets of swordsmanship. When he learned that there were 108 sword formations and illusion formations, as well as thousands of second-order high-grade sword puppets, his eyes were even more round, his mouth was slightly open, and he was speechless for a long time. This is simply a paradise for swordsmen. Ye Jiuhu murmured to himself, his voice full of disbelief. He walked step by step into the phantom of the Sword Heavenly Palace, and every step was like stepping into a brand new world of Sword Dao. The fluctuations of those sword formations made him, a monk who had just stepped into the 3rd floor of the foundation building, feel his heart surge. Changsheng, you boy, you really dare to think and do it. This Sword Heavenly Palace is indeed no small matter. No wonder the asking price is so high. Ye Jiuhu turned back, with both blame and appreciation in his eyes, and a wry smile on his lips. However, you are right. The family's future cannot just be seen in front of us. We do need such a training ground to make the Ye family's future better. The younger generations grow up in actual combat. Seeing the change in his grandfather's attitude, Ye Changsheng felt a big stone fall in his heart and quickly said, Grandpa, you are right. Only actual combat experience can allow us to stand firm in the face of real crisis. Moreover, this Sword Heavenly Palace can not only improve swordsmanship, can also train your mind, which is also very beneficial to you. Ye Jiuhu sighed, patted Ye Changsheng's shoulder, and said sincerely, you kid, although it makes me feel bad for you to be generous, but I'm very pleased that you are thinking about the family. Remember, strength is the key to success. It's a hard truth, but you can't forget to be diligent and thrifty. Okay, let's go in and take a look, and you can introduce it to me in detail. When Ye Changsheng heard this, with a proud smile on his face, he led Ye Jiuhu into the entrance of the Sword Dao Heavenly Palace. As they went deeper, various sword formations in the Sword Dao Heavenly Palace were displayed one by one, and Ye Jiuhu was amazed at each of them. The initial shock gradually turned into recognition of Ye Changsheng's vision. It seems that these 150,000 high-grade spiritual stones were well spent. Chapter 83. Lu Wan builds his foundation. Ye Jiuhu sighed, his eyes flashing with expectations for the future. With this treasure land, the Ye family can cultivate batches of sword masters. Changsheng, your move may really lay the foundation for the glory of our Ye family for 100 generations. Ye Changsheng heard this, and a warm current surged in his heart. After that, Ye Changsheng and Ye Jiuhu discussed, and finally decided that whoever had time would come to the Sword Heavenly Palace for training point. In order to improve their swordsmanship, they decided to let the sword puppets serve as opponents for actual combat exercises. The sword puppets can not only simulate various difficult swordsmanship moves, but also adjust according to their strength, making them excellent sparring partners. However, the opening of each large formation in the Sword Heavenly Palace requires a large amount of spirit stones. Specifically, the cost of opening a large formation every day is as high as 100 middle grade spirit stones. This is a considerable expense for ordinary practitioners, and it can even be said to be an unbearable burden. Therefore, being able to take out 100 middle grade spirit stones for training every day is definitely not something that ordinary people can afford. Despite this, Ye Changsheng and Ye Jiuhu both knew the importance of improving their swordsmanship. They decided to use the resources of Jiandao Xiangang as much as possible to improve their strength at all costs. So, from that day on, Ye Changsheng and Ye Jiuhu began to take turns to go to Jiandao Xiangang for training. Every duel with the sword puppet is an opportunity for self-breakthrough, and also a deep reflection and improvement of one's own swordsmanship. Half a month later, an exciting news came from Kingsu Peak. Kingsu Peak is about to improve its spiritual veins. This news quickly spread in the Ye family, attracting the attention and expectations of all the Ye family members and cultivators. As the main peak of the Ye family, the improvement of Kingsu Peak's spiritual veins will undoubtedly bring more cultivation resources and opportunities. On a sunny morning, a rumbling sound suddenly came from the sky above Kingsu Peak. The mountain began to shake violently, as if the earth was roaring. Many Ye family cultivators looked up at Kingsu Peak and saw that the mountain was gradually rising in waves of vibrations, as if a mysterious force was driving its growth. The whole process lasted for half a day, and the vibrations gradually subsided, and the height of Kingsu Peak also stabilized. With the last roar, the spiritual vein of Kingsu Peak was officially promoted to the second level, lower grade. The spiritual energy was diffused above the peak, as if the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was converging here. The Ye family cultivators felt the change in the spiritual energy and showed joyful expressions. Ye Changsheng was also relieved that the spiritual vein of the main peak of the Ye family had been raised, and the endless foundation building cultivators behind the Ye family also had a place to live and practice. This would make his grandfather and him feel much more at ease. After Ye Changsheng gave the Ye family members the spiritual vein raising fruit to improve their spiritual veins, the Ye family members made breakthroughs one after another. Grandpa Ye Jiuhu has broken through to the 3rd level of foundation building. Mother Cui Linglang has broken through to the 9th level of key refining. Uncle Ye Xianayu has also broken through to the 9th level of key refining. Aunt Liu Kana has broken through to the 7th level of key refining. Aunt Ji Xianayan has broken through to the 8th level of key refining. Li Kan has broken through to the 7th level of key refining. Zhao Weina has also broken through to the 7th level of key refining. And Lu Wan has reached the peak of the 9th level of key refining. Lu Wan is about to build a foundation, and Ye Changsheng stopped practicing in the Sword Heavenly Palace. He stepped into the Heavenly Palace again to prepare foundation building materials for Lu Wan. In fact, the family treasure house in the back mountain of Kinghu Peak already has complete foundation building materials, but the foundation building fruit is too important. Lu Wan has just entered the door. After a long discussion between Ye Changsheng and Grandpa Ye Jiuhu, they feel that for the sake of safety, the foundation building fruit cannot be revealed to her. Ye Changsheng came to Xuxianju again and spent 6,000 high-grade spirit stones to buy 10 high-grade foundation building pills. Luan also formally applied to Ye Jiuhu for foundation building point. Ye Jiuhu also gave her a cup of golden calendula and a stick of San Qingxiang plus a wisdom cushion point. Ye Changsheng returned to the real world and found Luan. Wana, this is the top grade foundation building pill that your husband bought for you. With your dual spiritual roots and the resources from the family treasury, your advancement to foundation building is almost certain. Thank you, husband. Lu. One thought she was lucky enough to get the foundation building pill so quickly, but she didn't expect that Ye Changsheng gave her a top grade foundation building pill point. Moreover, the foundation building resources that Ye Jiuhu gave her, whether it was San Qingxiang or golden calendula, were not less valuable than the foundation building pill point. She felt very lucky to marry into the Ye family point. It was her blessing to meet a handsome cultivator like Ye Changsheng who loved his wife so much. Luan's heart was full of gratitude and happiness. She looked at the top grade foundation building pill in her hand and secretly vowed to practice well and live up to Ye Changsheng's expectations. My husband, I will definitely work hard to practice and break through the foundation building period as soon as possible to bring honor to the Ye family. Luan said firmly. Ye Changsheng gently touched her head. Wana, I believe in you. You are one of the most talented cultivators I have ever seen. As long as you work hard, you will succeed. Lu. One nodded and then began to prepare for the foundation building point. She was arranged by Ye Changsheng to stay in Ye Changsheng's own retreat room, where the concentration of spiritual energy is the highest, because there is also a spirit gathering formation here. Ye Changsheng also opened the protective formation to ensure that Luan would not be disturbed by the outside world. Luan sat cross-legged on the wisdom cushion, lit the 3 pure incense, and began to absorb the spiritual energy it emitted. The aroma of San Qingxiang is fresh and pleasant, which can help monks concentrate their minds and get rid of inner demons. Luan took a deep breath and felt the spiritual energy in his body gradually becoming active. She took out the marigold tea and took a careful sip. She immediately felt a warm power flowing through her body, nourishing her meridians and anshan. Then, Luan took out the high-grade foundation building pill, recited the foundation building formula silently in her mind, and then swallowed the pill into her mouth. The elixir melted immediately in her mouth, turning into a powerful spiritual power flowing through her body. Luan immediately activated his technique and began to guide this spiritual power to circulate in his body, gradually opening up his meridians and condensing his danshan. Time passed minute by minute, and Luan concentrated on practicing. She felt that the spiritual power in her body was getting stronger and stronger, and the spiritual energy in her danshan was getting thicker and thicker. Finally, at a certain moment, she felt that the spiritual power in her body reached a critical point and suddenly burst out, breaking through the last barrier. Boom. With a soft sound, Luan felt that the spiritual energy in her body instantly became extremely pure and powerful. She knew that she had finally broken through to the foundation building stage. She opened her eyes, their eyes sparkling with joy. She stood up and felt that her body was full of power, as if she could break rocks with one punch. Husband, I succeeded. Lu. One ran out of the retreat room excitedly and found Ye Changsheng. When Ye Changsheng saw her look, a pleased smile appeared on his face. Wana, you really did not disappoint me. Congratulations, you successfully established the foundation. Lu. One excitedly threw herself into Ye Changsheng's arms. Husband, thank you for your continued support. Ye Changsheng patted her back gently. Wana, you deserve this. With such talent and hard work, success is inevitable. At this moment, Ye Jiuhu also got the news and rushed over. When he saw Luan successfully building the foundation, he showed a satisfied smile on his face. Luan, that's good. She is indeed the daughter-in-law of my Ye family. She has established the foundation so quickly. Lu. One stood up and saluted. It's because of the great care my grandfather and husband took of Wana that Wana was able to successfully build the foundation so quickly. Chapter 84, Luxury Purchase. Ye Jiuhu nodded with satisfaction. Okay, then Changsheng will prepare the magic weapon and elixir for you. The family will fully support your cultivation, half. A month after Luan consolidated his foundation and cultivation, Ye Changsheng took Luan to Xiangxiafang City in a flying boat. Xiangxiafang City is a well-known 4th level city in the world of immortal cultivation. The dazzling array of treasures and elixirs attracts countless monks. As soon as Ye Changsheng and Luan stepped into Fangxi, they were attracted by the bustling scene here. There are many shops on both sides of the street, selling all kinds of magic weapons, elixirs, and spiritual herbs. The monks are coming and going, making it very lively. Ye Changsheng took Luan into a store called Xianbei Pavilion. The store is gorgeously decorated and displays various precious magic weapons and spiritual weapons. When the shopkeeper saw Ye Changsheng and Luan, he immediately came over and greeted them warmly. "Two fellow Taoists, if you need anything, just ask us. We have everything here." Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "I want to choose a 2nd level treasure skirt for my wife. I wonder if the shopkeeper has any recommendations." The shopkeeper nodded and bowed, immediately took out several precious skirts from behind the counter, and introduced them one by one. The first piece is called the Blue Water Cloud Skirt. It is made of blue water silk, which is light and soft. It is embedded with the flowing cloud formation, which can increase the speed of movement in battle. It is priced at 2,500 spirit stones. The second piece is called the Purple Clouds Fairy Dress. It is made of purple clouds satin and has a bright luster. It is embedded with a purple clouds body protection formation that can automatically form a shield when attacked. It sells for 3,000 spirit stones. The third piece is called the Golden Phoenix Feather Skirt. It is made of golden phoenix feathers and is extremely luxurious. It is embedded with a golden phoenix body protection formation, which can improve defense in battle. It is priced at 3,500 spirit stones. The fourth piece is called the Ice Lotus Snow Skirt. It is made of ice lotus petals, which is cool and refreshing. It is embedded with ice lotus body protection formation, which can reduce the enemy's attack speed in battle. It sells for 3,200 spirit stones. The fifth piece is called the Fire Red Dress. It is made of flame silk. It is passionate and unrestrained. It is embedded with a flame protection formation. It can increase the fire attribute attack power in battle. It sells for 3,400 spirit stones. Ye Changsheng looked at these precious skirts and finally selected the most expensive golden phoenix feather skirt. He smiled and said to Luan, "Wana, this golden phoenix feather skirt not only matches your elegance, but also improves your defense. It is most suitable for you." Luan's cheeks were slightly red, and she said softly, "Thank you, husband." Ye Changsheng smiled, paid 3,500 spirit stones, and handed the golden phoenix feather skirt to Luan. Then, they came to the Fijian area. The shopkeeper took out 4 kinds of second-order low-grade flying swords, and introduced them respectively. The first one is called the King Feng Sword. It is made of green steel, and is extremely sharp. It is embedded with the King Feng formation, which can improve the penetrating power of the sword energy. It sells for 1,200 spirit stones. The second type is called the Red Flame Sword. It is made of red flame iron, which is extremely hot. It is embedded with a red flame formation, which can increase the fire attribute attack power. It sells for 1,500 spirit stones. The third type is called the Purple Electric Sword. It is made of purple electric copper. It flashes with electric light and is embedded with a purple electric formation. It can release electric light when attacking and paralyze the enemy. It sells for 1,400 spirit stones. The fourth type is called Xuanbing Sword. It is made of Xuanbing stone. It is very cold. It is embedded with Xuanbing formation. It can release coldness when attacking and reduce the enemy's movement speed. It sells for 1,300 spirits stone. Luan looked at these flying swords carefully and finally selected the red flame sword. She whispered, "The fire attribute attack power of this red flame sword is very strong, which is just suitable for my fire attribute skills." Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement, paid 1,500 spirit stones, and handed the red flame sword to Luan. Then, they came to the shield area. The shopkeeper took out several second-order low-grade shields and introduced them respectively. The first one is called the Dark Iron Shield. It is made of dark iron and is extremely strong. It is embedded with a dark iron protective formation, which can improve the defense. It sells for 1000 spirit stones. The second type is called the Vajra shield. It is made of diamond and is as hard as iron. It is embedded with a diamond protective formation. It can reflect part of the damage when it is attacked. It sells for 1200 spirit stones. The third type is called the spirit wood shield. It is made of spirit wood. It is light and flexible and has a built-in spirit wood protective formation. It can automatically repair when it is attacked. It sells for 1100 spirit stones. The fourth type is called ice crystal shield. It is made of ice crystal stone. It is very cold. It is embedded with an ice crystal protective formation. It can release cold energy when attacked and reduce the enemy's attack speed. It sells for 1300 souls. Stone. Ye Changsheng looked at these shields and finally selected the King Kong shield. He smiled and said to Lu Wan, "This diamond shield is not only strong, but can also rebound some damage. It is most suitable for you." Lu Wan nodded, her heart filled with gratitude and warmth. Then, they came to Fizhou district. The shopkeeper took out several second-order low-grade flying boats and introduced them respectively. The first one is called King Iron Boat. It is made of King Iron wood. It is light and fast. It is embedded with King Iron formation, which can increase the flying speed. It sells for 2000 spirit stones. The second type is called the Red Flame Boat. It is made of red flame wood, which is extremely hot. It is embedded with a red flame formation, which can increase the defense when flying. It sells for 2200 spirit stones. The third type is called the Purple Electric Boat. It is made of purple electric wood. It flashes with electric light and is embedded with a purple electric formation. It can release electric light while flying and paralyze the enemy. It sells for 2100 spirit stones. The fourth type is called Zuanbingzhao. It is made of Zuanbing wood, has a chilling aura, and is embedded with Zuanbing formations. It can release chills while flying, reducing the enemy's pursuit speed. It is priced at 2300 spirit stones. Ye Changsheng looked at these flying boats and finally chose the Red Flame Boat. He smiled and said to Lu Wan, "This Red Flame Boat is not only fast, but also increases defense. It is the most suitable for us." Lu Wan took the flying boat and looked at Ye Changsheng gratefully. "Thank you, Changsheng." Ye Changsheng smiled gently and gently stroked Lu Wan's hair. "We are husband and wife, no need to say thank you." Finally, the two of them left Xianbei Pavilion and came to a shop specializing in selling elixirs. The shopkeeper introduced 3 kinds of elixirs to Lu Wan that can improve the cultivation of the initial stage of foundation building. The first one is called Jilingdan, which can quickly gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and improve cultivation. It is priced at 500 spirit stones per bottle. The second one is called Nenkiden, which can condense the spiritual energy in the body and improve cultivation. It is priced at 600 spirit stones per bottle. The third type, called Yang Yuandan, can nourish the vitality and improve cultivation. It is sold for 550 lingxi per bottle. Ye Changsheng looked at these pills and finally chose 3 bottles of Julingdan. He smiled and said to Lu Wan, "This Julingdan has the best effect and is most suitable for your current cultivation." "Okay, husband," Lu Wan said sweetly. Chapter 85 Xianglan Garden. Ye Changsheng took his wife to visit the stalls on both sides of the street again. There were also a variety of goods on sale on the stalls. Ye Changsheng spent another 9000 spirit stones to buy Lu Wan a complete set of jewelry and magic tools, consisting of a hairpin, a necklace, an earring and a pair of bracelets. The name is Starlight Brilliance, all of which are in the second level lower grade. This complete set of jewelry and magic tools can exert the defense power of the second level middle grade after being activated. It is a rare boutique. Lu Wan was very happy to see it. It turns out that women like beautiful things everywhere. Ye Changsheng personally put on the necklace and earrings for Lu Wan. Lu Wan's face was red, and the whole person snuggled in Ye Changsheng's arms. After purchasing almost everything, Ye Changsheng took Lu Wan to Beixianglao to eat a second-level spiritual banquet, which was considered a celebration for Lu Wan's advancement to the foundation building stage. Beixianglao is a famous chain restaurant in the cultivation world, famous for its delicious spiritual banquets in Beixianglao. The lights were bright and the spiritual mist was lingering, adding a bit of fairy charm to this celebratory meal. Ye Changsheng took Luwon's hand and, under the guidance of the waiter, came to the reserved private room. In the room, a carved jade table came into view. The table was exquisitely decorated, obviously specially arranged to welcome the distinguished guests. Wana, today I have specially prepared 8 carefully selected second-level spiritual meals for you. Each one is made of top quality materials, which will not only help you consolidate your foundation, but also recognize your efforts. Ye Changsheng said to Luwon gently, his eyes full of pampering. Hearing this, Luwon's eyes flashed with surprise and emotion, and she whispered, "Thank you, husband." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly, and then waved to the waiter to serve the dishes. Following the footsteps of the waiter, one by one, the spiritual meals with color, fragrance, and taste were presented one by one. Each dish seemed to contain the essence of nature and exuded an attractive aroma. The first dish is Flame Lion Heart Stew, which uses the heart of the second-level monster Flame Lion. It is stewed to be extremely tender and melts in the mouth, and has a warming effect. Ye Changsheng personally served Luwon a bowl and said gently, "This soup is very helpful for your cultivation. Drink more." The second dish is Ice Crystal Toad Leg, which is taken from the hind legs of the second-level monster Ice Crystal Toad. The meat is delicious and has a hint of coolness. It can clear away heat and detoxify. Luwon tasted it, his eyes lit up, and smiled and said to Ye Changsheng, "This taste is really special." The third dish is Purple Lightning Eagle Wing, which uses the wings of the second-level monster Purple Lightning Eagle, baked with secret seasonings, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, with a hint of electric stimulation. Ye Changsheng watched Luwon eat happily, and felt satisfied in his heart. The fourth dish is Chicken Stewed with Green Ganoderma lucidum, which uses the second-level spiritual plant Green Ganoderma lucidum and spiritual chicken to stew, with a rich soup, nourishing and beauty. Ye Changsheng picked up a piece of chicken, and put it in Luwon's bowl, saying gently, "Eat more, it's good for your body." The fifth dish is Golden Scale Fish Slices, which are taken from the fish slices of the second-level monster Golden Scale Fish. The meat is delicate and rich in spiritual energy, which can improve cultivation. Luwon took a bite, and felt the spiritual energy flowing in her body. She looked at Ye Changsheng in surprise. "This fish slice is really magical." The sixth dish is Red Flame Fruit Plate, which uses the second-level spiritual fruit Red Flame Fruit, and is matched with sauces made from various spiritual herbs. It is sweet and sour, and has the effect of beautifying and nourishing the skin. Ye Changsheng looked at Luwon eating happily and couldn't help but reach out and gently stroke her hair, saying lovingly, "As long as you like it." The seventh dish is Mysterious Ice Deer Steak, which is taken from the ribs of the second-level monster Black Ice Deer. It is roasted with a secret sauce. The meat is delicious and has a hint of coolness. It can clear away heat and detoxify. Luwon took a bite and nodded with satisfaction. "This deer steak is really delicious." The eighth dish is Ganoderma lucidum stewed with bird's nest, which uses the second-level spiritual plant Fire Ganoderma lucidum and spiritual bird's nest to stew. The soup is rich and nourishing. Ye Changsheng personally served a bowl to Luwon and said gently, "This soup is very helpful for your cultivation. Drink more." During the whole process, Ye Changsheng always took good care of Luwon, picking up dishes for her from time to time, and gently asking her how she felt. Luwon felt Ye Changsheng's care and love, and her heart was full of happiness. This spiritual feast cost Ye Changsheng a total of 8,000 spiritual stones. When Ye Changsheng paid the bill, Luwon was a little shocked. Ye Changsheng gently stroked Luwon's back and smiled to indicate that it was nothing. After eating, Ye Changsheng took Luwon and drove the second-level flying boat back to the Ye family at lightning speed. Ye family, King Hu Peak, Xianglan Garden. After Luwon established his foundation, the Ye family rebuilt a garden for Luwon at the second-level spiritual vein next to Changsheng Garden under the instruction of Ye Jiu, who Luwon named it Xianglan Garden, which is quite poetic. As soon as you enter Xianglan Garden, the first thing that comes into view is a carefully maintained garden. Various spiritual flowers and plants are planted in the garden. which are evergreen all year round and fragrant. There is a small spiritual spring in the center. The spring water is clear and the spiritual energy is dense, and there are several exquisite spiritual stones around it. There is a winding path next to the spiritual spring, and various flowers are planted on both sides of the path, forming a flower-sea corridor. The residence is an antique courtyard with a traditional architectural style. The roof is covered with green tiles and the walls are white powder walls, which look simple and elegant. There is a small bridge in the courtyard, and under the bridge is a clear stream with gurgling water and swimming fish. The courtyard is equipped with a main house, study, guest rooms, etc. The furniture is simple and elegant, full of the fragrance of books. Behind the residence are the retreat room, spell practice room, alchemy room, treasure house and other facilities, all of which are protected by corresponding formations. Luan was very satisfied with this Xiangwan garden and rewarded the Ye family members who decorated Xiangwan garden. Luan took Ye Changsheng's hand and entered Xiangwan garden at night. In Luan's boudoir, Luan took another pregnancy fruit and pressed her body tightly against Ye Changsheng. The next day, after Ye Changsheng washed up, he left. Before leaving, he left 2 second level compassion fruits, 10 second level talismans purchased before, and 5,000 spirit stones. Luan thanked him charmingly again. Time passed, and 3 months later, Luan received news of her pregnancy. Ye Changsheng and Ye Jiu, who were very happy. Li Kan and Zaowana were very jealous when they heard the news, and they came to Ye Changsheng to get new pregnancy fruits. Seeing this situation, Ye Jiu, who was very satisfied. He told Ye Changsheng privately that this was the correct way to open the harem. Ye Changsheng found his mother Cui Linglang that day. Mom, I have cracked the secret of the token that grandpa gave me last time, and I have gained a lot of opportunities from it. There are 2 top grade foundation building pills inside. I will give them back to grandpa and grandma and ask them to keep it secret and not give it to others. I want to see them build their foundation. Ye Changsheng said as he handed Cui Linglang a jade box. Chapter 86 Talisman Grass. High grade foundation building pill. Changsheng, do you know what an opportunity this is, mother? Cui Linglang said in shock. Mom, of course I know, but you should understand. In the past few years, our Ye family has had monks successfully build foundations one after another. You should understand that our family does not lack this thing. When Mom wants to build a foundation, you might use something better than this. Ye Changsheng said with a smile. Seeing Ye Changsheng's relaxed expression, Cui Linglang's stern face relaxed. It seems that my son finally got a great opportunity, otherwise he would not be so generous. Then, let me thank you on behalf of your grandpa and grandma. Cui Linglang said happily. Cui Linglang couldn't help but feel happy when she thought that both her parents could build foundations. Grandpa and grandma deserve this. Just don't publicize it to the outside world. As for grandpa and grandma who haven't reached the 9th level of key refining yet, I will give you another 10,000 spirit stones as the cost of cultivating to the foundation building level. Ye Changsheng took out another 10,000 spirit stones. By the way, tell grandpa that all this happened because of the chance of that token, otherwise he might not accept it. Ye Changsheng added, okay, mom knows. I'm so lucky to have such a promising son like you. I'm so lucky. Cui Linglang's eyes were moist. In addition to spending time with several wives and 2 sons these days, Ye Changsheng fed the 3-legged fire crows and then began to inspect the Lingo garden. Because these spiritual fruit trees are all mature trees, transplantation is not difficult. They are growing very well now, but they have not been expected to bear fruit in recent years, because the lowest human spirit fruit trees here are all first grade high grade trees. It would take 9 years at the fastest to produce a single crop of spirit fruit. It seems that the main beneficiaries of these spiritual fruits are Ye Changsheng's children. Ye Changsheng has also been thinking these days, it is not a solution for the Ye family to be unable to make ends meet. After all, there are more and more monks building foundations in the future. It is impossible for him to support the Ye family all the time, so he still has to find a good property for them, which is the right way. Financial issues are very sensitive everywhere, otherwise problems will arise sooner or later. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng came to Xiangang again. Wandering around the outskirts of the heavenly palace, I discovered that there was actually a store selling industry secrets. Ye Changsheng walked into this shop that specializes in selling industry secrets. The interior is simple yet elegant, and the walls are covered with introductions and price lists of various secret recipes. The shopkeeper was a middle-aged man with a smile. When he saw Ye Changsheng coming in, he immediately came over to greet him. "Fellow Taoist, I see that you have an extraordinary bearing. Are you here to find any special secret recipe?" the shopkeeper asked enthusiastically. Ye Changsheng nodded and looked around, his eyes resting on several secret recipe introductions on the wall. "I'm looking for some industry secrets that are suitable for our family's development. What do you recommend here?" The shopkeeper's eyes lit up, and he clearly saw Ye Changsheng's potential and needs. He pointed to a secret recipe introduction on the wall and said, "Fellow Taoist, you might as well take a look at this secret recipe for refining refined iron. Our secret recipe has been verified by many masters of refining, and the refined iron is of high quality. The market demand is huge and the profits are huge." Ye Changsheng took a closer look and found that the secret recipe was indeed detailed, even including various spiritual materials and steps needed in the refining process. He asked, "How much does this secret recipe cost?" The shopkeeper smiled slightly and stretched out a finger. 10,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng frowned. The price was indeed not low. He continued to browse other secret recipes. After seeing what the shopkeeper saw, he continued to recommend, "Fellow Taoist, take a look at this secret recipe for refining mithril. Mithril is an essential material for refining high-level magic weapons, and the demand exceeds supply on the market. Our secret recipe can not only improve the refining efficiency, also ensures the purity of mithril." Ye Changsheng nodded and asked, "What is the secret recipe?" The shopkeeper's answer, "It's also 10,000 high-grade spiritual stones. This is the secret recipe of the first-class high-grade wildebeest industry. You only need to cultivate specific grasses according to the secret recipe and use special pharmaceuticals so that the wildebeests can reproduce year after year. The wildebeest meat produced by it is delicious, and the horn is excellent for refining tools. The market response has been excellent. What's the price?" Ye Changsheng asked calmly. "This secret recipe sells for 8,000 high-grade spiritual stones, but it is guaranteed to pay back its capital in 3 years and make a huge profit in 5 years. The shopkeeper replied confidently. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and shook his head. Seeing this, the shopkeeper took out another secret recipe. Would this fellow Taoist be interested in learning about the spiritual banquet meal secret recipe collection? It contains dozens of methods for making spiritual food, which can attract many monks to patronize, and the profits are also considerable." Ye Changsheng thought in his mind that, although these secret recipes were good, they were indeed expensive. He continued to browse, and his attention was suddenly attracted by a piece of information introducing the secret recipe for making talisman paper. "What's this?" Ye Changsheng asked, pointing to the secret recipe. A trace of pride flashed in the shopkeeper's eyes. "You have a good eye. This is one of the most special secret recipes in our store." It is about the cultivation of a first-order low-grade spiritual plant called spirit rune grass. In the secret recipe for making rune paper, talisman grass is harvested once a year, but the talisman paper produced can be made into first-level high-grade talisman paper, first-order mid-grade talisman paper, and first-order low-grade talisman paper according to the grade. Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up and he asked, "What's the point of this secret recipe?" The shopkeeper explained, "The key to the secret recipe of the entire industry lies in the seeds of the spirit talisman grass in the secret recipe for making talisman paper. The seeds of the spirit talisman grass are available for sale here, and the secret recipe for making talisman paper has been improved by many talisman masters to ensure the quality and stability of the talisman paper." Ye Changsheng's heart moved and asked, "How much does this secret recipe cost?" The shopkeeper smiled and replied, 5,000 top-grade spirit stones." Ye Changsheng was delighted. This price was much cheaper than other secret recipes, and the market demand for talisman paper was also very large. He said without hesitation, "Okay, I want this secret recipe." The shopkeeper saw that Ye Changsheng was so straightforward, and immediately took out the secret recipe and the seeds of the spirit talisman grass, and handed them to Ye Changsheng. Dao Wow is indeed a person who knows the goods. This secret recipe has such a favorable price in a place like the Heavenly Palace. If it is in the outside world of cultivation, it will cost at least 10 times more. Ye Changsheng took the secret recipe, checked it carefully, and nodded with satisfaction after confirming that it was correct. He paid 5,000 high quality spirit stones, and the shopkeeper's smile became even brighter. Dao. This secret recipe not only introduces the planting method of Lingfu grass in detail, but also includes every step of making talisman paper. As long as you follow the secret recipe, you can guarantee that you can make high quality talisman paper. The shopkeeper continued. Ye Changsheng nodded, and he had already begun to think about how to promote this new industry in the Ye family. He said goodbye to the shopkeeper and left the shop with the secret recipe and seeds. After leaving the Xianggong and returning to the Ye family, Ye Changsheng immediately summoned Ye Dongren and the clan leader Ye Jialang to come to the tiger garden of grandfather Ye Jiuhu to discuss. After several people took their places, Ye Jiuhu stroked his beard and said, "Changsheng, is there anything important that you called everyone here for?" Ye Changsheng stood up and said, "Grandpa, I got a rare industry secret recipe in the Xian and Xiuxin world from an exchange meeting. I invited everyone here to discuss this matter." Ye Changsheng then showed them the newly purchased secret recipe and seeds of Lingfu grass. After seeing the secret recipe, everyone showed a surprised expression. Chapter 87 Family Dinner. Immortality. This secret recipe is really good. The planting cycle of talisman grass is short, and the talisman paper produced is in high demand and the profit is considerable. Ye Jiuhu said. Ye Chang nodded. Yes, our Ye family has been looking for a stable industry, and this secret recipe for talisman paper just meets our needs. Ye Dongren stroked his beard, and his eyes flashed with joy. Changsheng, you have really made great contributions to the family this time. The planting cycle of talisman grass is short, and the market demand for talisman paper is huge. The key is that this secret recipe is its rare in the world of immortal cultivation in Xianan, and this is definitely the most important way for our Ye family to make money in the future. Ye Jialang also nodded and praised. Yes, Changsheng, your vision and judgment are indeed very good. Our Ye family has been looking for a stable industry, although the production of talisman paper from green bamboo could bring some income before. It was completely insufficient for the clan's expenses, and compared with growing talisman grass, it was simply insignificant. On the same land, the income from planting talisman grass is at least 10 times that of planting green bamboo. This secret recipe for talisman paper exactly meets our needs. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and said humbly, "Grandpa, the patriarch, this is what Changsheng should do. I just did my part, hoping to contribute to the family." Ye Dongren and Ye Jialang looked at each other and smiled with satisfaction. Everyone expressed their agreement, and Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that, as long as this industry could develop smoothly, the Ye family's financial problems would be greatly alleviated. After that, everyone in the Ye family announced that they would stop planting spiritual rice and green bamboo in the first level low-grade spiritual land, and all the green bamboo that had been planted would be pulled out. All are planted with talisman grasses for the seeds. The seeds of the talisman grass are very small to begin with. From that bag, Ye Changsheng estimates that he can plant at least 1,000 acres at the same time. The Ye family improved the talisman paper workshop according to the secret recipe requirements. Because Kingsu Peak has advanced to the second level of spiritual veins, it has gained a lot of first level spiritual land, so excluding the more than 100 acres of spiritual land divided by Kinghu Peak. The Ye family now has more than 1,500 acres of first-class spiritual land. Point after all, the original territory of Kingsu Peak had the best spiritual veins, so after the spiritual veins were improved, they would gain the most benefits now. 1,000 acres of the first order lower grade spiritual fields are planted with spiritual talisman grass. The first order middle grade spiritual fields are planted with spiritual rice, and both the first order high grade spiritual fields and the second order spiritual fields are planted with elixirs. Although Ye Jialang is busy practicing, he has arranged the Ye family in order. Ye Changsheng nodded. It was indeed worry-free for the Ye family to have such a capable head. Time flies like water, and 3 months have passed in the blink of an eye. While Ye Changsheng was outside the cave, carefully feeding the 3-legged fire crow with fire mulberries, a tribesman sent by his grandfather Ye Jiu who hurriedly came to tell him important news. The patriarch Ye Jialang was about to build a foundation. Ye Changsheng nodded gently and thought to himself that this was indeed expected. As a leader among the 9-character generation, Ye Jialang was beyond the reach of ordinary people in terms of his talent for cultivation, wisdom in life, and magnanimity. If it weren't for the awakening of Ye Changsheng's true dragon Immortal Tree, which attracted an influx of resources for cultivating immortals to benefit the family, especially for his grandfather Ye Jiu who was able to get close to the water, first come first served, and quickly build the foundation, I'm afraid this day would have had to wait even longer. Recently, with the resources poured in by Ye Changsheng and Ye Jiuhu's ancestors and grandsons, it is only natural that Ye Jialang can step into the realm of foundation building so quickly. Ye Changsheng took a moment to organize himself and immediately set off for Kingsu Peak. When they arrived, they saw that their grandfathers Ye Jiuhu, Ye Dongren and other clan elders had stopped to watch at the peripheral second level spiritual land with focused expressions. Ye Changsheng first performed some courtesy, greeted everyone one by one, and then blended into the crowd watching the ceremony. Everyone held their breath and stared, only to see Ye Jialang standing in the center of the spiritual land, his whole body gradually being enveloped by a layer of mysterious brilliance. In the sky, between the rolling clouds, there seemed to be dragons and phoenixes dancing, thunder and lightning intertwined, and the vitality of heaven and earth surged crazily, converging into brilliant beams of light that shot straight into the sky. This is a spectacular vision of the resonance of heaven and earth when the foundation is being built, which heralds the monk's deep connection with the natural world and a qualitative leap in the power of control. As time goes by, the vision gradually subsides, and peace returns to heaven and earth. Ye Jialang's figure was stable, and there was a new sense of strength between his brows. It was obvious that the foundation was successfully established. He slowly walked out of the spiritual land and was greeted by the thunderous cheers of his tribe. Congratulations to the patriarch for successfully building the foundation and looking forward to the great road. Ye Jiuhu said first. Congratulations to the patriarch for successfully building the foundation and looking forward to the great road. The crowd then cheered in unison. Facing everyone's congratulations, Ye Jialang smiled and nodded in response. After everyone calmed down, Ye Jialang solemnly walked towards where Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng were standing, his eyes full of gratitude. I was able to successfully build the foundation today thanks to the great help of Jiuhu and Changsheng. I, Ye Jialang, would like to say thank you. Then, Ye Jialang gave a big salute. Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng quickly got out of the way and kept saying, I've gone too far. It's not an exaggeration at all. Ye Jialang said simply, my Ye family is as prosperous as it is today, thanks to the contributions of both of you. I now salute you again as the leader of the clan. After Ye Jialang finished speaking, he bowed again. Yes, your grandfather and grandson deserve this great gift from the clan leader. Ye Dongren also said solemnly, my Ye family must remember the kindness of your grandfather and grandson. Ye Dongren also began to talk endlessly about the contributions of Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng. Everyone agreed and praised. Ye Jiuhu refused repeatedly, but the beard at the corners of his mouth was curled up, and he looked very happy. Ye Changsheng smiled, looking unperturbed by honor or disgrace. After the noise, Ye Jialang went back to consolidate his cultivation. The people of the Ye family gradually dispersed. The Ye family returned to their previous Busy state point. Another month passed in the blink of an eye, and it was almost the time for the new year in the Cheyenne calendar. Because Luan built her foundation this year and then became pregnant, and Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng, who were both 5 years old, Ye Changsheng prepared a decent New Year family dinner. With more family members, some activities were needed to consolidate the unity of the family. Ye Changsheng once again came to the heavenly palace and walked into a shop called Lingwixun, which specializes in selling various spiritual beast meat and spiritual fruits. The shopkeeper was an old man who was in the late stage of foundation building and looked very smart. As soon as Ye Changsheng entered the door, the shopkeeper came up to him warmly. "My fellow Taoist, what do you need?" Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "Shopkeeper, I want to prepare a sumptuous family dinner. There are several pregnant women and 2 5-year-old children at home. Do you have any recommendations for suitable spiritual beast meat?" Chapter 88 Spiritual Beast Meat. The shopkeeper touched his beard, pondered for a moment and then said, "Fellow Taoist Ye, you have come to the right place. We have recently received a kind of spiritual beast meat called the red flame dragon scale beast. This kind of spiritual beast is a 3rd level spiritual beast. The meat is extremely delicious and contains rich fire attribute spiritual energy, which can greatly enhance the power of the cultivator's fire attribute skills. It is especially suitable as a main dish, but it is also expensive, requiring 50 high-grade spiritual stones per kilogram." Ye Changsheng's heart moved. Red flame dragon scale beast. It sounds very good. Then let's get 20 kilograms. The shopkeeper continued to introduce. The second is the meat of the Cheyenne deer. This kind of spiritual beast is a 2nd order high grade spiritual beast. The meat is delicious and nutritious. It is especially beneficial to the cultivation of pregnant women and children, and can greatly replenish their vitality. Enhance physical fitness. Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up. Cheyenne deer? It sounds good. Please elaborate. The shopkeeper nodded. Cheyenne deer lives deep in the Cheyenne Mountains and is extremely rare. Its meat is not only delicious, but also rich in spiritual energy, which can promote the improvement of cultivators. For pregnant women, Cheyenne deer meat can stabilize fetal qi, can enhance the physical fitness of the mother and fetus. For children, it can enhance their cultivation abilities and strengthen their body. However, it is also expensive, costing 10 high-grade spiritual stones per kilogram. After hearing this, Ye Changsheng was overjoyed. Then let's get 50 kilograms of Cheyenne venison. The shopkeeper continued to recommend. In addition, there is a kind of Xixia spirit fish, which is also a 2nd level spiritual fish. This kind of spiritual fish lives in the 2nd level spiritual lakes above. The meat is fresh and tender, rich in spiritual energy, and can nourish the vitality. Suitable for the whole family to enjoy. 15 top grade spiritual stones per pound of Xixia spirit fish. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment and decided to buy some more purple cloud spirit fish. Then let's get 5 more purple cloud spirit fish. The shopkeeper nodded with satisfaction. "Okay, then I will call you the spirit fish." Then the shopkeeper fished out 5 sparkling purple spirit fish from the vessel, placed them on the spiritual scale and weighed them. The spiritual scale showed that the 5 spiritual fish weighed a full 60 kilograms. Ye Changsheng nodded and signaled the shopkeeper to continue. The shopkeeper continued, "I also recommend the meat of the ice crystal snow rabbit. This kind of spiritual animal lives in extremely cold places. The meat is tender and contains rich ice attribute aura. It can calm the mind and improve the practitioner's ice energy. The technique requires 30 high-grade spiritual stones per kilogram." Ye Changsheng nodded. "Okay, then let's get 10 pounds of ice crystal snow rabbit meat." The shopkeeper continued, "Finally, I recommend the wings of the golden-winged thunder eagle. This kind of spiritual beast is a 2nd level spiritual beast. The wings are delicious and contain rich thunder attribute aura, which can enhance the practitioner's thunder attribute. The power of the technique requires 60 high-quality spiritual stones." Ye Changsheng said with satisfaction. "Then let's get 5 pairs of golden-winged thunder eagle wings. By the way, are there any spiritual fruits suitable for the whole family to enjoy?" The shopkeeper smiled and said, "Of course. We have a 2nd level spiritual fruit called 9-color spirit fruit. This spiritual fruit not only tastes sweet, but also can harmonize the 5 element of spiritual energy. It is suitable for all cultivators. It is especially suitable for family banquets. Use 20 high-grade spiritual stones per kilogram of 9-color spiritual fruit. Ye Changsheng nodded. Then let's get 10 kilograms of 9-color spirit fruit. Finally, calculate how many spirit stones are needed in total. Ye Changsheng said, okay, let me calculate for you. Red flame dragon scale beast meat, 1000 high-grade spiritual stones. Xianling venison, 500 high-grade spiritual stones. Ziksha spiritual fish, 900 high-grade spiritual stones. Ice crystal snow rabbit meat, 300 high-grade spiritual stone, 300 high-grade spiritual stones for the golden winged thunder eagle wings. 200 high-grade spiritual stones for the 9-color spiritual fruit, and finally 3200 high-grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng happily paid off the spirit stones. He still has more than 120,000 high-grade spiritual stones in his storage bag, and he doesn't care about the cost at all. Ye Changsheng took all the ingredients handed over by the shopkeeper, put them into storage bags, and walked out of Lingwixan with satisfaction. Ye Changsheng returned to the real world from the heavenly palace. As the Chinese New Year approaches, everyone in the Ye family is in a festive atmosphere, with couplets and colored paper posted everywhere. Ye Changsheng came to Huan in person to meet his grandfather Ye Jiuhu. Grandpa, my grandson wants to hold a family dinner during the Chinese New Year this year, inviting you, my mother, my wife, and the children at home. Ye Changsheng said, that's right. We don't do much during the Chinese New Year every year, so this year it should be lively. Ye Jiuhu said, we monks have a long lifespan, but we spend several months in retreat. Calculating this, we actually don't have much time to reunite with our families every year. I'm afraid it's far behind the mortal world, so my grandson thinks it is necessary to handle it properly and grandly. Ye Changsheng said, okay, I haven't seen my 2 great-grandchildren for a long time. Ye Jiuhu said while stroking his beard with a smile. A few days passed by in a flash, and it was the night of the new year inside the Changsheng Hall of Changsheng Garden. This is a main hall. After Ye Changsheng laid the foundation, his grandfather Ye Jiuhu arranged for people to build it for Ye Changsheng. After all, Ye Changsheng is a foundation building monk, so he needs a solemn place to do some things. The New Year's Eve banquet organized by Ye Changsheng was held here. The Hall of Eternal Life is built on the 2nd level spiritual ground. There is a spirit gathering array around the hall, so there is a rich spiritual mist exuding above the hall. As everyone arrived, after greeting each other one by one, Ye Jiuhu sat on the main seat. Ye Changsheng and others sat down into rows. There is a food plate in front of everyone, with a constant temperature array attached to it to ensure the freshness of the food and maintain a certain temperature. Everyone. This first dish is the 3rd level demon beast red flame dragon scale beast. The meat is delicious, and it will be very beneficial to the body after eating it. I spent a lot of money to get it. You can have a good taste. As Ye Changsheng finished speaking, the maids carried the prepared meat slices and assigned them to 6 seats. The 2 children, Ye Changchen and Ye Chengyu, were still young and sat at the dining table with their mother. Oh, it's actually the meat of a 3rd level monster. Ye Jiuhu was a little surprised. Although he was the oldest here, he had never eaten such expensive meat. Well, it tastes good. The meat melts in your mouth. After eating it, a strong warmth flows throughout your body. Mother, Cui Linglang also praised loudly after eating it. There are many 3rd level monsters, but there are not many types that are suitable for everyone to eat. I bought this kind of meat from a store that specializes in selling spiritual feast ingredients. Ye Changsheng explained from the side. As expected, it's delicious. If I continue to eat this meal, I'll probably grow a lot in cultivation. It will be able to support my hard training for at least 3 months. After Luwan ate it, his eyes lit up, and he said happily. Luwan also has fire spirit roots. Eating the meat of this fire monster is beneficial to her cultivation. It's delicious. The 2 little guys, Ye Changchen and Ye Chengyu, are both 5 years old. However, due to their good congenital development, Ye Changsheng spent a lot of money on their cultivation during their growth. Now they looked like 8 or 9-year-old children. Ye Changsheng was very happy when he saw the meat of the 3rd level spiritual beast, and a warm current flowed through his heart. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, Purple Rice. Next, when he served Xianling venison, Ye Changsheng emphasized that this kind of spiritual meat is very beneficial to pregnant women. Luan, Li Qian, and Zhao Weina's eyes lit up. All 3 are pregnant now, about 6 months old. Moreover, Luan was pregnant with twins. This Xianling venison is just a treat for me. It has no other use. You 3 can share the rest. CUI. Ling Lang said. The 3 girls all stood up in surprise and thanked their mother-in-law. I'm just like your mother-in-law. I'll share this meat with you too. Ye Jiuhu said happily. I'll give you mine too. Ye Changsheng also said. After seeing this, the 3 women stood up again to thank them. Then the 3rd dish was served. Zixalingai, the 4th dish. Ice Crystal Snow Rabbit. The 5th course. Gold-winged Thunder Eagle. The last dish is a delicious spiritual fruit called 9-color spirit fruit. After Ye Changsheng's introduction, the maid finally brought up all the 9-color spiritual fruits. The 9-color spirit fruit exudes a strange brilliance, and the 9 colors take turns flowing on the spirit fruit, which is really beautiful. Dad, this spirit fruit is really delicious. Ye Changsheng, who was holding a 9-color spirit fruit in his hand, said as he ate it. Okay, if you like it, eat more. Ye Changsheng said happily. Seeing this, Li Qian placed her fruit plate next to Ye Changsheng. The atmosphere in the Hall of Eternal Life became increasingly warm. As the last 9-color spiritual fruit was served, everyone was immersed in this sumptuous New Year's Eve banquet. Ye Jiuhu looked around and was very pleased to see that everyone was satisfied with their meal. He coughed lightly, attracting everyone's attention. Everyone. Ye Jiuhu spoke slowly, with a hint of majesty and kindness in his voice. Today is a good day. Everyone gathers together to enjoy this New Year's Eve banquet. I'm very happy. He paused, his eyes lingering on each person's face for a moment, and continued. I'm even more happy that our Ye family is thriving, especially Changsheng. Not only did he succeed in building the foundation, but Luan also succeeded in building the foundation. Our family is a 3-level foundation building family. Even ordinary foundation building families can't compare. Ye Changsheng lowered his head slightly. Grandpa, our family's prosperity is the result of your good leadership and everyone's joint efforts. Ye Jiuhu waved his hand. Not paying attention to Ye Changsheng's compliments, he continued. Luan successfully established the foundation this year, which is a great joy for our family this year. I hope everyone can follow her example, practice diligently, and strive to establish the foundation as soon as possible. There are abundant opportunities for cultivating immortals in our family, and there is no shortage of resources. I can tell you here that, as long as everyone can cultivate to the 9th level of key refining, they will have foundation building resources. Everyone, especially the 2 daughters Li Qian and Zhao Weina, were particularly surprised. They only had 4 spiritual root qualifications, and they did not expect that they would have the opportunity to build a foundation. This would be unimaginable treatment in the original family. One more thing. Ye Jiuhu turned his eyes to Luan, Li Qian and Zhao Weina. All 3 of you are pregnant now, which is a great joy for our Ye family. Especially Luan is pregnant with twins, which is a rare blessing. The 3 women all had happy smiles on their faces and gently touched their abdomens. However, Ye Jiuhu changed the topic and his tone became serious. These children are not enough. We have too few descendants of the Ye family. Xiana, who only gave birth to 1 girl. Changsheng, the burden on your shoulders is very heavy. Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly. Grandpa, don't worry, I will definitely work hard. Ye Jiuhu smiled with satisfaction. Very good. After you 3, Luan, Li Qian, and Zhao Weina have given birth to these children, you will have at least 2 more children. Our Ye family must spread its branches and expand its population. This way only then can you be invincible in the world of immortality. The three women all looked at each other, then stood up, and said yes. The atmosphere became lighthearted again. Okay, today's family banquet is over. Let's have a good rest. When we go back, Ye Jiu stood up and announced. Everyone stood up one after another, saluted Ye Jiu and Cui Ling Long, and then left the eternal life palace. Time flies, and another 3 months have passed. Ye Changsheng was having dinner with Lu Wan, who was 9 months pregnant. The rice I ate was first grade Yangxiao rice, which tasted pretty good. Wana, what do you think of this Yangxiao rice? Ye Changsheng asked. It's not bad. It melts in your mouth. It's delicious. Although I'm a core member of the Lu family, what I usually eat is first grade low grade Langaya rice. This Yangxiao rice is only allocated to me 2 kilograms every year, which is not enough to eat. In our Ye family, I can eat Yangxiao rice every time. I'm very satisfied. Lu Wan said. Ye Changsheng stroked Lu Wan's hair lovingly. You are easily satisfied, but we are foundation building monks, and eating this first level mid-grade spiritual rice will delay our cultivation. Besides, these Yangxiao rice are purchased by the clan, so it will be a big expense in the long run. We at Qinghu Peak still have a lot of first level high grade spiritual lands available. It just so happens that Qinghu Peak also has plenty of spiritual water. I'm thinking that our family can plant some first grade high grade spiritual rice on Qinghu Peak. What kind of spiritual rice do you want to eat later? Ye Changsheng said. I heard that the first grade Lingzhu rice is fragrant, smooth and particularly delicious. How about we grow this? Lu Wan said happily. Okay, but this kind of rice is not rare in our neighborhood. It is a relatively common first order high grade spiritual rice. I plan to plant a rarer first grade high quality spiritual rice, which can also be used as the unique spiritual rice of our Ye family in the future. But I will try my best to choose a taste similar to Lingzhu rice. Ye Changsheng said with a smile. Thank you, husband. Lu Wan looked at Ye Changsheng charmingly and said. After eating and arranging Lu Wan's rest, Ye Changsheng came to the heavenly palace to choose rare spiritual rice seeds. The most suitable place is still the heavenly palace. After arriving at the heavenly palace, Ye Changsheng wandered around the outermost ring of the heavenly palace. As he walked, he came to a shop called Spirit Seed Pavilion. As soon as Ye Changsheng entered the door, a middle-aged cultivator in a grey robe came across. He had a kind face and looked like a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. Hello, sir. What kind of spiritual seeds do you want to choose? Asked the shopkeeper. Ye Changsheng looked around and found that there were tens of thousands of spiritual seeds in their glass counter, and there were hundreds of rice seeds alone. This is only the first and second level rice seeds. Dao, I want to buy a first level high quality rice seed. Please recommend it to me. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, the rice seeds here are the most complete in the shops on the outermost ring of the heavenly palace. Please come here. The grey-robed shopkeeper said with a smile. The shopkeeper took Ye Changsheng to a display cabinet and began to introduce in detail. This first type is Lingzhu rice, which has a delicate taste, melts in the mouth, and has a light fragrance. The rice seeds come from the Shenhuan continent, and the price is 10 kilograms and 6 high-quality spirit stones. The shopkeeper said. Chapter 90, Heavenly Secret Shielding Array. The second type is Yulu rice. The rice grains are crystal clear and the texture is soft with a hint of sweetness. It comes from the Shenhuan continent and sells for 10 kilograms of 7 high-grade spiritual stones. The shopkeeper continues the introduction. The third type is golden ear rice. The rice grains are golden, with a slightly chewy texture and a rich aroma. It also comes from the Shenhuan continent and sells for 10 kilograms of 6 high-grade spiritual stones. The shopkeeper said. The fourth type is green con. The rice grains are light green, with a refreshing taste and a slight herbaceous aroma. It comes from the Zenai continent and sells for 9 high-grade spiritual stones for 10 kilograms. The shopkeeper introduced. The last type is Xixia rice. The rice grains are purple, with a soft texture and a unique floral aroma. It comes from the Stardao continent and sells for 10 kilograms and 10 high-grade spiritual stones. This Xixia rice is already the best among the first-grade high-grade rice varieties. The shopkeeper said. These are all very good, Ye Changsheng said. Yes, these are the most popular first-class rice varieties in our store. The shopkeeper said with a smile. Ye Changsheng thought about it carefully and found that Lingsu rice, Yulu rice, and golden ear rice were all relatively common varieties in Longnan's immortal world. After some consideration, he finally chose Xixia rice, which tastes closer to Lingsu rice. Then, I want 5 kilograms of Xixia rice spiritual seed, Ye Changsheng said. Okay, 5 kilograms of spiritual pearls, rice and spiritual seeds, a total of 5 high-grade spiritual stones, the shopkeeper said. Ye Changsheng paid the spirit stone and walked out of the shop with the rice spirit seeds. After leaving this shop, Ye Changsheng felt that his home was still not very safe. After all, he had received so many opportunities, which was a bit abnormal, so he still had to make some preparations. Ye Changsheng went directly to the penultimate ring of the Xiangong and arrived at a shop called Array Equipment Pavilion. Walking towards him was an ancestor of the Z mansion dressed in purple. My little friend, what formation do you need, shopkeeper? Zi said. Senior, I want a formation that can shield my spiritual peak from outside prying eyes. It is best to have a 3rd level formation, Ye Changsheng said. Shopkeeper Zi smiled slightly and waved his palm, and the 3 formation diagrams were suspended in mid-air, emitting a faint spiritual light. My friend, please see, these 3 formations are the 3rd level low-level hidden spirit formation, the 3rd level mid-level mysterious formation, and the 3rd level high-level heavenly secret array. The shopkeeper pointed at the first formation diagram, which was painted with complex runes and formation nodes, exuding a faint aura. This formation is called the Hidden Cloud Mist formation, and it belongs to the 3rd level low-level formation. This formation is inspired by the clouds and mists in nature. After being arranged, it can make the surroundings of Lingfeng shrouded in a layer of light fog all year round, making it difficult for outsiders to peering into the real scene inside. It has a good concealment effect on ordinary Zifu monks' spiritual detection. However, for those with more advanced cultivation, the shielding effect may be limited. The price of this formation is 15,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Then, the shopkeeper pointed to the second formation diagram. The runes on this formation diagram were more complex and the spiritual energy fluctuations were stronger. It is the Phantom Overlapping Peaks formation, which belongs to the 3rd level mid-level. This formation is more sophisticated and can automatically adjust according to changes in the environment to form multiple illusions. Even cultivators with a keen sense of direction can easily get lost in this overlapping peaks. Finally, the shopkeeper pointed to the 3rd formation diagram. The runes on this formation diagram were extremely fine, and the spiritual energy fluctuations flowed like water waves, making it appear extremely mysterious. This is the 3rd level high-grade heaven secret covering array, and the price is 50,000 high-grade spiritual stones. This formation can not only block the fluctuations of spiritual energy and the detection of spiritual thoughts, but also can shield the secrets to a certain extent, making some early stages of the 4th order Taoist court it is difficult for monks and even 3rd level secret deduciers to spy on the secrets of your spiritual peak. If you are worried about being spied on by an expert, this formation is undoubtedly the best choice. After listening to the shopkeeper's introduction, Ye Changsheng weighed it in his mind and finally decided to choose the most powerful heavenly secret covering array. After all, the opportunity he got was not trivial, and he had to take adequate protective measures. Senior, I will choose this heavenly secret covering array, Ye Changsheng said firmly. Shopkeeper Zi nodded, showing a satisfied smile. My little friend, you really have a unique vision. The effect of this celestial secret covering array will definitely satisfy you. After saying that, the shopkeeper handed the formation map to Ye Changsheng, and Ye Changsheng took out 50,000 high-grade spiritual stones from the storage bag and handed it to the shopkeeper. After the transaction was completed, Ye Changsheng felt relieved and felt that he finally had a reliable layer of protection. Thank you, senior. I will say goodbye, junior. Ye Changsheng bowed his hands in salute, and then left the array equipment pavilion. Ye Changsheng left the heavenly palace, and returned to the Ye family point. After returning to the retreat room, Ye Changsheng came to the space of the true dragon Immortal Tree with the thought point: there are already 10 drops of 2nd level fairy dew in the fairy tree space, and in another month, a new 3rd level fairy dew will be generated. Ye Changsheng took out 10 drops of 2nd level fairy dew, and prepared to use them to induce Xixia rice seeds. Because this rice seed comes from the Stardao continent, which is far away from the Zilan continent, Ye Changsheng is worried that the spiritual rice seed will not adapt here, and made a great point. So Ye Changsheng prepared to spawn an acre of Xixia rice in the real world, so that Xixia rice could survive the adaptation period. Returning to the retreat room, Ye Changsheng diluted the 2nd level immortal dew and spiritual water at a ratio of 1 to 10,000. Then he came to King Hu Peak again, and according to the formation diagram of the heavenly secret covering formation, he laid out the formation instruments one by one, and finally pinched the magic formula to activate the formation central formation instrument, making the heavenly secret covering formation effective. Then he found an empty 1st grade high quality spiritual field. Ye Changsheng also laid a maze formation around this acre of spiritual field to prevent people on King Hu Peak from seeing what they shouldn't see. Ye Changsheng evenly sprinkled 5 caters of purple rice seeds on the ground of the 1st grade high quality spiritual field. The tiny seeds flickered faintly in the sun, as if each seed contained endless vitality. He took a deep breath, felt the rich spiritual energy in the spiritual field, and was full of expectations. Then he took out the mixed spiritual water, shook his hand slightly, and the spiritual water turned into countless crystal clear small water droplets driven by magic power, suspended in the air. Each drop of water emits a faint spiritual light, like the stars in the sky. Ye Changsheng waved his fingers gently, and the water drops fell neatly on the purple rice seeds like soldiers obeying orders. As the spiritual water soaked the purple rice seeds, they quickly absorbed the spiritual energy and began to undergo wonderful changes. The seeds that were originally still on the ground gradually expanded, and a layer of light purple halo appeared on the surface. After a while, the seeds cracked into tiny cracks, and the tender green buds poked out from them, as if announcing their arrival to the world. These rice sprouts grew rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Almost in the blink of an eye, the tender sprouts had grown into emerald green seedlings. Chapter 91 Twins. Ye Changsheng watched all this intently, his heart filled with wonder and joy. He knew that this was not only the role of Lingshan and Lingshu, but also the potential of the Xixia rice seed itself. The rice seedlings grow rapidly in the spiritual field, and the leaves gradually become wide and thick. The color also changes from light green to dark green, exuding a strong aura. Finally, the rice ears began to be pulled out, and the golden rice ears swayed gently in the breeze, as if to pay tribute to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng walked to the field, gently picked an ear of rice, and looked at it carefully. The rice seeds are plump and round, showing a charming purple color, which is more crystal clear than the original rice seeds. He pinched it gently with his fingers, and felt the abundant spiritual energy contained in it. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart that these Xixia rice had indeed reached the 1st level. Ye Changsheng stood beside the spiritual rice field, with the breeze blowing, and the rice ears swaying in the wind. He took a deep breath, formed seals with his hands, and began to use his magic power. With a slight wave of his finger, an invisible force surged out of his body and quickly spread to the entire rice field. Under the influence of the magic power in the foundation building stage, the ears of the spiritual rice were separated from the stalks and suspended in the air. Ye Changsheng moved his fingers again, and the rice ears automatically peeled off, and the golden rice grains fell like raindrops and piled up in front of him. The whole process went smoothly without any hesitation. After collecting the rice grains, Ye Changsheng focused his eyes and formed a complex seal in his hand. I saw him drink softly, and a ball of real fire suddenly rose in his palm. The flame was light blue, extremely hot. but extremely stable point. He threw the real fire into the air, and the flames quickly spread and covered the entire rice field point. Wherever the real fire passed, all the straw was instantly turned to ashes, leaving not even a trace of smoke behind. Ye Changsheng waved his hand again. Mana surged, the ashes were blown away by the wind, and the land became flat again, as if no one had ever cultivated it. The whole process only took a moment. And Ye Changsheng had already completed harvesting the spiritual rice and clearing the land. He looked at the rice piled in front of him with satisfaction, and estimated that the rice weighed about 1,500 kilograms currently. The number of vacant first level high grade spiritual fields in Qinghu Peak is only 100 acres at most. Ye Changsheng left 500 kilograms of Xixa rice as rice seed, and the remaining 1,000 kilograms were ready to be distributed to everyone. Ye Changsheng returned to Changsheng Garden and called his servants to divide 1,000 kilograms of Xixa rice into 10 parts. Grandpa Ye Jiu, who gave me 100 katas. Mother urged Ling Lang to send 100 katas. Uncle Ye Xianai sent 100 katas. My aunt Ye Xianai sent me 100 katas. Lu Wan will give you 100 katas. Li Qian will give you 100 katas. Zhao Weina will give you 100 katas. 100 pounds from Ye Changsheng. Ye Shengai, who has 100 katas. I finally enjoy 100 pounds. Then he flew to Qinghu Peak, and in the family general affairs hall, issued a first level high grade spiritual rice planting task with high standard contribution. Ye Changsheng plans to plant 100 acres of first class spiritual fields with Xixa rice as soon as possible. It will be ready to enjoy in 3 years. At that time, the whole family can eat it and share some among the clan. When the Ye family's territory becomes larger in the future, Ye Changsheng will expand planting, and eventually Xixa rice will become the flagship product of Ye Changsheng's branch and even the Ye family. Li Qian, madam, this is the first grade, top grade Xixa rice that the master sent me to give you. He just bought it. 100 pounds. This is Master Chen's share of 100 katas, a total of 200 katas. The servant said. These servants are all mortals of the Ye family, but they have all practiced mortal martial arts. They are all masters in the secular world, but they can only be servants in the fairy mountain. However, there is abundant spiritual energy in the immortal mountain, which is of great benefit to martial practitioners. Moreover, you can also obtain contribution points, which can be exchanged for various semi-spiritual pills that are of great benefit to martial practitioners. Therefore, the secular people rush to come to the fairy mountain to work as servants. Not only there are people at Ye Changsheng's place, but also at Li Qian's place. Everyone has servants at their disposal. Okay, thank you sir for me. Li Qian was very happy. After all, this was the first order high grade spiritual rice. Watch and enjoy. Li Qian gave instructions to her left and right again. A maid next to him immediately took out a bottle and a half of elixir and handed it to the servant. The servant was naturally overjoyed, and after thanking him profusely, he walked out. Chenna, I didn't expect that your father would even share the spiritual rice with you. Today, my mother arranged for someone to cook it for you to taste the taste of the first grade high grade spiritual rice. Li Qian said to Ye Changsheng with a happy face. Mom, what is the first order high grade spiritual rice? Ye Changsheng asked with a puzzled look. First grade high grade spiritual rice is rice that is more delicious than the Yangshi rice we ate before. It is one level higher than that rice. You are so lucky, boy. Li Qian said happily. Okay, I'll have it for lunch. Ye Changsheng cheered. Another month passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Wan is about to give birth. After a difficult wait, Ye Changsheng finally heard 2 babies crying in the delivery room. A boy and a girl, a twin of a dragon and a phoenix. There are boys and girls, and Ye Changsheng is very happy. The boy was born first, and this was Ye Changsheng's 3rd child. The girl was born later, and this was Ye Changsheng's 4th child. Wana, thank you for your hard work. Ye Changsheng affectionately held Lu Wan's weak hand and said. Although Lu Wan was already a foundation building cultivator, the children she gave birth to were also extremely large and strong. Their birth caused Lu Wan to feel very uncomfortable. Husband, this is what I should do. It's not hard. Lu Wan smiled and said weakly. Wana, thank you. There is nothing you should do. You have indeed made sacrifices for me. When the child is 1 month old and your body recovers, I will give you a surprise. Ye Changsheng said. What? Surprise? Lu Wan's eyes lit up. I can't tell you now. I can only tell you that it is a big surprise. Ye Changsheng said. By the way, husband, our children don't have names yet. You, as a father, can give them names. Lu Wan said. The eldest is a boy, so let's call him Ye Shengs. The second is a girl, so let's call him Ye Changsheng. What do you think? Ye Changsheng said. Ye Shengs, Ye Changsheng, not bad. Lu Wan said with a smile. Ye Changsheng held the two children again and comforted Lu Wan. He left behind a lot of elixirs and supplements and left. Ye Changsheng came to Grandpa Ye Jiuhu's tiger garden. Grandpa Ye Jiuhu was waiting for news from Ye Changsheng in the tea room. Changsheng, how is it? Is it a boy or a girl? Ye Jiuhu asked. Grandpa, it's twins, a boy and a girl. Ye Changsheng quickly replied. Yes, a boy and a girl are good. Ye Jiuhu said happily. Grandpa, I have something to discuss with you. Ye Changsheng said. What is it? Ye Jiuhu asked. Lu Wan gave birth to a child this time. I want to give her a reward. I want to give her a Shineling fruit. What do you think, Grandpa? Ye Changsheng said. Chapter 92 Soul Hiding Ban. Give her the heavenly spirit fruit. This matter is no small matter. Ye Jiuhu stroked his beard with a serious look on his face. Grandpa, this is what I think. After all, our Ye family's goal is not to stop at the level of foundation building. I have such an opportunity, and our family's future is limitless. If some core resources are not open to people like Lu Wan, then our Ye family will definitely not be able to produce a few great monks, which is not conducive to long-term development. And I'm also planning to hand over the second level spirit enhancing fruit to the family. I want the whole family to improve the spiritual roots of the family monks. Grandpa, what do you think? Ye Changsheng said. Ye Jiuhu nodded. When he heard this, it's okay to give them these, but adequate precautions must be taken, especially now that our family only requires monks who marry into the Ye family to swear an oath. The price of breaking the oath seems a bit insignificant when faced with a treasure of heaven, material and earth like the Shineling fruit. In this case, you go to Xiangang again and buy some insurance methods to prevent leaks, so that there will be no future troubles. Ye Jiuhu said. Grandpa said yes, I also thought of this. Then I'm going to go there now. By the way, Grandpa, I have also purchased a set of 3rd level high grade Qianji shielding array in Xiangang in the past few days. It can effectively block the monks in the Zifu realm from spying on our Qinghu Peak. Even the 3rd level Qianji monks cannot deduce the monks and all the affairs in Qinghu Peak. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, that's right. I've wanted to ask you to buy a similar formation for a long time, so that Qinghu Peak will be safer. Ye Jiuhu said in surprise. Well, Grandpa, I have put enough spirit stones into this formation, so it doesn't need anyone to maintain it. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, of course it's better to worry less. Ye Jiuhu said happily. After chatting with his grandfather Ye Jiuhu, Ye Changsheng came to the heavenly palace again. Ye Changsheng already has a clear goal in mind. He wants to find a restriction that can effectively prevent leaks of secrets without causing excessive harm to family members. He shuttled around the heavenly palace for a while and finally found a shop called Spirit Forbidden Pavilion that specialized in selling various forbidden secrets. This shop may look ordinary on the outside, but it is unique inside. A dazzling array of forbidden jade slips are neatly arranged on the shelves, exuding a faint aura. The shopkeeper was an older monk with a kind face. When he saw Ye Changsheng coming in, he greeted him enthusiastically. Fellow Taoist, I wonder what kind of restrictions are needed? We have various types of restrictions here. Whether they are defensive, attack or prevent leaks, everything is available. Ye Changsheng nodded and said straight to the point. Shopkeeper, I need a restriction that can prevent secrets from being leaked. It is best that the secrets cannot be leaked, even if the soul is searched. There was a glint in the shopkeeper's eyes, and he was obviously very interested in Ye Changsheng's needs. He smiled slightly and motioned for Ye Changsheng to follow him to the counter nearby, took out a few jade slips from under the counter, and placed them in front of Ye Changsheng. These types of restraints are the best products in our store. The shopkeeper began to introduce one by one. This first type of restriction is called Soul Lock Restriction, which sells for 2000 high-grade spiritual stones. If the person who has been banned tries to reveal the secret, he will feel a severe headache, which will eventually lead to coma. But the disadvantage of this restriction is that, if the opponent's willpower is strong enough, it is still possible to force the secret. Ye Changsheng frowned slightly, obviously not satisfied with this restriction point. Upon seeing this, the shopkeeper continued to introduce the second type. This second type of restriction is called the Soul Destroying Restriction. It sells for 4000 high-grade spiritual stones. Once the soul is searched, the restriction will be triggered immediately, causing the brain of the banned person to self-destruction, completely destroying all memories. Although this kind of ban is effective, it does too much damage to the banned person, and is a bit inhumane to use. Ye Changsheng shook his head. He did not want to cause such serious harm to family members. The shopkeeper nodded and picked up the third jade slip with a proud smile on his face. This third type of restriction is called the Soul Hidden Restriction. It is the most advanced one in our store. The price is 6000 grade spiritual stones. If a person who has been placed under such a ban tries to reveal the secret, or touches the secret while being soul searched, the ban will be automatically triggered, and the memory will be permanently erased. Although it will cause some damage to the brain, it is more powerful than the other. Considering the soul destroying restriction, this damage is already very slight. Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up. This was exactly the restriction he needed. He carefully asked about the specific effects and usage of the ban, and the shopkeeper patiently answered them one by one. The effect of this soul concealment is very stable, and the triggering mechanism is very sensitive, and will not be easily cracked. Even high-level monks would find it difficult to detect that the banned person's memory has been erased. The shopkeeper added. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction and decided to buy this ban. He paid enough spirit stones, and the shopkeeper handed the jade slip to him, along with some detailed instructions on how to use it. Thank you, shopkeeper. This ban is exactly what I need, Ye Changsheng said. You're welcome, fellow Taoist. If you have any other needs, you are welcome to come back at any time. The shopkeeper said with a smile. Ye Changsheng left the shop, feeling relieved. Now he could finally free his hands and feet to help his family. After Ye Changsheng returned to the Ye family, he immediately studied the soul hidden restriction in seclusion. After spending a month, he finally mastered this restriction. Calculating the time, this is exactly the time when the third level fairy dew is born in the space of the true dragon fairy tree. Ye Changsheng's mind moved, and he came to the space of the true dragon fairy tree. He took out this drop of third level fairy dew and ripped it on the core of a shineling fruit. After a few breaths, a shineling fruit tree quickly broke out of the core, with lush branches and leaves, and an amazing growth rate. In just a moment, this shineling fruit tree has grown, and the branches are full of crystal clear fruits. Ye Changsheng counted carefully, and found that a total of 12 shineling fruits were produced this time. Ye Changsheng took the shineling fruit out of the fairy tree space, and came to Lu Wan's Xianglan garden. Wana, how is your body recovering recently? Ye Changsheng asked. Husband, everything is normal now. I have been taking care of the two little guys these days. They are so cute. Lu Wan looked at the two children with a loving face. Ye Changsheng gently hugged Lu Wan, stroked her beautiful back and said, Wana, thank you. I will never let you down. Husband, I'm not tired. This is what I should do as a wife. Lu Wan looked into Ye Changsheng's eyes and said, Wana, I have another great opportunity to give you, but in order to keep the family secret, I need to put a ban on you. Are you willing? Ye Changsheng suddenly asked with a serious face. Husband, I'm willing. Lu Wan said firmly. Wana, I'm wronged. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and said, I said, I'm a member of the Ye family in life and a ghost of the Ye family in death. I deserve to be banned in order to keep the family secrets. Besides, this is also a common thing in our world of immortal cultivation. Husband, you don't have to feel guilty. Lu Wan looked at Ye Changsheng and said firmly. Chapter 93 Luan 039 S Advancement. Okay, then I'll start. Ye Changsheng said. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath, began to form seals with his hands, and silently recited the incantation. With the sound of his spell, a mysterious power gradually filled the surrounding space, as if the whole world was responding to his call. Luan sat cross-legged on the ground, closed his eyes, and waited without any distractions. Ye Changsheng's hands drew complex runes in the air. These runes shone faintly in the air and gradually gathered into a huge magic circle. The center of the array was exactly where Luan was. The soul is hidden. Get up, Ye Changsheng shouted low, and pushed forward with both hands. The runes in the magic circle instantly turned into a ray of light and shot straight towards Luan's forehead. Luan felt a warm force pouring into her body, as if an invisible hand was gently caressing her soul. Her consciousness gradually blurred, as if she had entered a strange state. A layer of fine beads of sweat broke out on Ye Changsheng's forehead. His expression became more and more focused, his hands kept changing the mudra, and the spells in his mouth became more and more urgent. As he moved, the light in the magic circle became brighter and brighter, eventually turning into a dazzling beam of light that completely enveloped Luan. The soul is hidden. It's done, Ye Changsheng shouted one last time. His hands suddenly clasped together, and the light in the magic circle instantly dissipated. Luan's body trembled slightly, and then returned to calm. Ye Changsheng slowly retracted his hands, and exhaled a long breath. He walked to Luan, gently helped her up, and asked with concern, "Wana, how do you feel?" Luan opened his eyes. A trace of confusion flashed in his eyes, but he soon regained his clarity. She smiled slightly and said softly, "Husband, I feel very good. Thank you." Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief, gently held Luan's hand, and said softly, "Wana, this soul confinement can effectively protect the secrets deep in your soul from outside prying eyes, but it will also restrict you. I hope you can understand." Luan nodded and said firmly, "Husband, I understand. For the safety of the family, I'm willing to bear everything." Ye Changsheng looked at her, his eyes full of gratitude and love. Ye Changsheng finally solemnly took out a jade box, which contained a heavenly spirit fruit. "Wana, this is the great opportunity I want to give you, the third level high grade elixir that can enhance the spiritual root qualifications of foundation building monks, the Shinling fruit." Ye Changsheng said. Hiss. Luan's eyes widened, looking in disbelief. "This is a legendary spiritual fruit. How did you get it, husband?" Luan said in great surprise. "Wana, this involves family secrets. You can't tell anyone that our family has so many coveted spiritual fruits and elixirs." Ye Changsheng said. As soon as Ye Changsheng finished speaking, a mysterious rune appeared on Luan's forehead. From now on, Luan could not speak out about it. If someone detects this information using a soul search method, this part of his memory will also be forcibly erased. "Okay, husband, I understand. After taking this heavenly spirit fruit, your cultivation level will also increase on a large scale during the foundation building period. In addition, I will also give you some medicines that are not common in the Longnan immortal cultivation world and are more effective and suitable for increasing your cultivation level in the early stage of foundation building. Elixir, your cultivation will grow faster, but this is also a family secret." The hidden soul in Luan's brain responded again. The mysterious runes on his forehead flashed again. "Yeah, thank you, husband." Luan said obediently. Even so, I was very excited inside, because I didn't expect that my husband would have so many great opportunities relying on her husband. Her future cultivation will definitely extend beyond the foundation building stage, and even her children will too. Then Luan swallowed the sky spirit fruit under Ye Changsheng's gaze. Ye Changsheng then went out to protect her. Half a day later, Luan ran out happily. "Husband, I feel that the spiritual power in my body is extremely full now, as if I can break through to the second level of foundation building at any time." Luan said excitedly, with unconcealable joy shining in his eyes. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and nodded. "This is just the beginning. The effects of the Shinling fruit will gradually appear in the next few days, and your cultivation will be further improved. However, remember not to act too hastily, and to proceed slowly and steadily. The way to practice. Luan nodded vigorously. I will remember your husband's teachings and will not rush ahead because of greed for merit. Ye Changsheng looked at her lovingly, secretly glad that he had chosen Luan as his partner. In the next few days, I will continue to protect you, and you can practice with peace of mind. Ye Changsheng said. Luan looked at Ye Changsheng gratefully and nodded vigorously. In the next few days, Luan followed Ye Changsheng's instructions and concentrated on practicing. The medicinal power of Xianling fruit gradually took effect in her body. Her cultivation level steadily improved, and her spiritual power became purer. Ye Changsheng was quietly guarding her from the side, always paying attention to her condition to ensure that she would not have any problems due to the overpower of the medicine. A few days later, Luan finally broke through to the second level of the foundation building. She felt that the spiritual power in her body was more surging, and her whole person seemed to be completely new. Husband, I succeeded, Luan said excitedly, his eyes shining with joy. Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded. Very good. We must continue to work hard and strive to break through to a higher level as soon as possible. Luan nodded firmly. Ye Changsheng then sent someone to notify his grandfather Ye Jiuhu, Supreme Elder Ye Dongren and clan leader Ye Jialong, and held a family meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, Ye Changsheng said solemnly, Elders, I have something that requires your support and cooperation. Ye Jiuhu frowned slightly and asked, what's the matter? Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and continued, I want to continue to improve the family's strength and will continue to release a batch of training resources, but these cannot be leaked, so I purchased a restriction called soul concealment, which can effectively prevent family secrets from being leaked. I plan to impose this restriction on all clan members to ensure that our secrets will not be known to outsiders. Ye Dongren and Ye Jialan looked at each other, obviously very interested in this proposal. Ye Dongren was the first to speak. Soul confinement? This sounds necessary, but how to do it specifically? Ye Changsheng nodded and explained. The hidden soul ban is a high-level ban that requires each of our core members to master and use it. The opportunity I have prepared is not small, and it can improve the spiritual root qualifications of the entire Ye family. But the stakes are high, and we must ensure that the secret is not leaked. Therefore, I hope that all the elders can support me and learn this soul concealment and plant it for all clan members. Chapter 94. The whole clan ascends to spirituality. Ye Jialan thought for a moment, and then said firmly, Changsheng, your proposal is very necessary. I fully support it. Ye Dongren also nodded in agreement. Yes, such a ban is indeed necessary. We support it with both hands. I agree too. Ye Jiuhu said. Seeing everyone's support, Ye Changsheng felt relieved and continued, since everyone agrees, let me explain in detail. The opportunity I'm talking about is the second order spiritual fruit. The spiritual fruit. This kind of spiritual fruit can significantly improving the monk's spiritual qualifications is crucial to the future of our Ye family. When Ye Dongren and Ye Jialan heard this, their eyes shone with shock. Ye Dongren exclaimed, Spirit Ascension Fruit? This is an extremely precious treasure of heaven and earth. I didn't expect you to be able to get it. Ye Jialan also agreed. This is really great news. We must take advantage of it. Yes, the sooner our Ye family can use this fruit that enhances spiritual roots, the better. After the meeting, Ye Changsheng fell into intense practice. His cultivation has reached the peak of the second level of foundation building, and he may break through to the third level of foundation building at any time. A month later, news came from the clan leader Ye Jialong, saying that they had mastered the restriction of soul concealment. After Ye Changsheng learned about it, he immediately went to the Immortal Tree space. In the fairy tree space, Ye Changsheng took out 2 drops of second level fairy dew generated in the past 2 months and carefully dripped them on the 2 spiritual fruit trees. With the moisture of the fairy dew, the Shengling fruit tree grew rapidly and produced dozens of crystal clear Shengling fruits. Ye Changsheng counted the numbers and found that it was still the same as last time. Each tree had produced 36 spirit rising fruits, and the two trees had obtained a total of 72 spirit-scarving fruits. Ye Changsheng then took these fruits and sent them to the clan leader Ye Jialong. Grandpa Ye Jiuhu and Supreme Elder Ye Dongren are also there. After the clan leader Ye Jialong got the spirit ascension fruit, he looked very excited and asked, Changsheng, what is the value of these spirit ascension fruits? Ye Changsheng thought for a moment and said, let's count it as 300,000 spirit stones. He sells 3,000 high-grade spiritual stones in the Heavenly Palace, which is undoubtedly a low price when converted into 300,000 spiritual stones. Ye Jialong nodded, and then said, then it will be calculated, based on the contribution of 300,000 points for one spirit ascension fruit. The first batch has a total of 72 immortal fruits, each with a contribution point of 300,000, for a total of 21.6 million contribution points. Ye Jialong breathed a long sigh of relief and said, the family owes you more and more. Ye Dongren also said, at this time, we are all from the same family, so there is nothing we owe. When the Ye family becomes prosperous in the future, we can just give Changsheng a few spiritual mountains. There are many immortal children, and they need a place to settle them. Ye Jiuhu said at this time, okay. Ye Dongren stroked his beard and said with a smile, as long as the Ye family grows stronger, he will be happy. Ye Jialong remained silent. It seems that this old man is still thinking about spreading his business and expanding his business territory. Ye Changsheng thought to himself. Next, Ye Jialong, Ye Dongren, Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng summoned 72 clan members in the key refining stage to the family's second level spiritual land according to their cultivation level. This spiritual land is located in the mountain behind the family and is full of spiritual energy. It is surrounded by tall spiritual trees and the air is filled with a faint aroma of spiritual energy. Following the instructions of the elders, the tribesmen stood neatly in the center of the spiritual ground, with a little nervousness and expectation on their faces. Ye Changsheng and several foundation building monks stood in front of them with serious expressions. Ye Changsheng cast the spell first, and a soft light emitted from his hand, gradually covering every clan member. There is a warm power in the light, which makes people relax involuntarily. As the spell was cast, the tribesmen fell into coma one by one, and fell to the ground. Ye Dongren and Ye Jiuhu quickly stepped forward, and began to plant the soul concealment restriction on the foreheads of each clan member. After the bang was planted, Ye Jialong took out the crystal clear spiritual fruits one by one from the storage bag, and put them into the mouths of each clan member respectively. The ascension spirit fruit melted in their mouth, turning into a strong spiritual power that quickly spread within their bodies. Then, Ye Jialong, Ye Dongren, Ye Jiuhu and Ye Changsheng sat cross-legged, surrounded the tribesmen, and began to use their kung fu to help them digest the medicinal power of the spirit rising fruit. The palms of the four people emitted streams of spiritual light. These spiritual lights were like trickles, slowly injecting into the bodies of the tribesmen, helping them guide and absorb the power of the spirit ascension fruit. Time passed minute by minute, and half a day later, the tribesmen gradually woke up. They opened their eyes and felt the abundant spiritual power in their bodies, and their surprise was beyond words. Everyone can clearly feel that their cultivation speed has accelerated, as if they have broken through the bottleneck overnight. The clan leader Ye Jialong stood on the high platform, scanning the awakening clansmen, and said majestically, this is the family's secret method. No one is allowed to leak it. Everyone responded in unison, yes. From this moment on, everyone in the Ye family obviously felt different. Although these Ye family members don't know what opportunities they have received, they can feel that their family is different from ordinary foundation building families. Everyone started talking. Do you feel it? My spiritual energy flows much more smoothly than before, and I can practice with twice the result with half the effort. Yes, I feel the same way. Moreover, my danshan seems to have become wider, and my spiritual energy storage has greatly increased. What kind of method is this? It can actually make our cultivation level improve so quickly. It's like a dream. I heard that only those big sects have such secret methods. Could it be that our Ye family also has such a foundation? No matter what the method is, it's a good thing that it can make us stronger. It seems that the family is really different. However, the clan leader said that this method is a family secret. We must keep it secret and cannot leak it. Of course, we will definitely follow the clan leader's instructions. After all, this is a major event related to the rise and fall of the family. In the next 6 months, it was divided into 3 times, and each time 72 clan members entered the family secret place for mysterious baptism. After the mysterious baptism, the Ye family members found that their cultivation speed increased significantly. Originally, the level of 5 spiritual roots became the level of 4 spiritual roots. 4 spiritual roots became the level of 3 spiritual roots. 3 spiritual roots became the level between 3 and 2 spiritual roots. Moreover, after taking the second level spiritual fruit containing vitality, these people basically promoted 1 level. Half a year later, the Ye family had 5 more foundation building cultivators. There were 6 people who were trying to reach the foundation building stage, but the 6th elder Ye Changsheng failed and died. This made Ye Changsheng feel a little guilty. If he had prepared better foundation building pills for everyone, the 6th elder would not have died. Those who succeeded in building the foundation were the 3rd elder Ye Jiubao, the 5th elder Ye Jiacheng, the 7th elder Ye Jialin, the 8th elder Ye Jiuli, and the 9th elder Ye Jiafeng. The reason why these people were able to advance so quickly was probably because they had taken the Immortal Ascension pair before. They were all at the 7th level of key refining. After taking the Immortal Ascension pair, they advanced 1 level. After taking the Spirit Ascension fruit, they polished themselves for a few months and advanced another level. Chapter 95 Heavenly Secret Jade. As for those who have advanced to the late stage of key refining, there are even more people, including Ye Xianaya, Ye Xianqi, Ye Xianhua, Ye Xianshu, Ye Xians, Ye Xianfeng, and nearly 20 others, because Ye Changsheng discussed with everyone and decided to keep a low profile. The foundation building of the 5 elders behind was not spread. But now the Ye family has 10 foundation building elders. Nearly 20 people in the late stage of key refining, and the family positions and titles have to change. After the discussion of the 10 foundation building elders, it was decided that except for the clan leader Ye Jialong, the rest of the foundation building elders were promoted to supreme elders, handing over the mundane affairs in their hands, so that they can concentrate on cultivation. Clan leader Ye Jialan 1st Grand Elder, Ye Jiuhu 2nd Grand Elder, Ye Changsheng 3rd Grand Elder, Ye Dongren 4th Grand Elder, Luwan 5th Grand Elder, Ye Jiubao 6th Grand Elder, Ye Jiashan 7th Grand Elder, Ye Jialin 8th Grand Elder, Ye Jiuli 10th Grand Elder, Ye Jiafeng. All family affairs are decided by these 10 foundation building cultivators. Because Luwan is Ye Changsheng's wife, she is unwilling to participate in family affairs, and Ye Changsheng usually attends on behalf of 2 people. That is to say, Ye Changsheng has 2 votes. Then select 9 general affairs elders. Ye Xianai has already reached the 9th level of key refining and is working hard to cultivate and prepare to build a foundation as soon as possible, and has also handed over the position of general affairs elder. All the 9th level key refining cultivators in the family do not participate in the selection of general affairs elders and are directly cultivated as foundation building seeds. In this way, the foundation building seeds of the Ye family are Ye Xianaya, Ye Xianqi, Ye Xianhua, Ye Xianshu, Ye Xians, and Ye Xianfeng. The 9 general affairs elders are the 1st elder, Ye Xianaya 2nd elder, Ye Xianayao 3rd elder, Ye Xianruth 4th elder, Ye Xianayat 5th elder, Ye Xianting 6th elder, Ye Xianlin 7th elder, Ye Xianland 8th elder, Ye Xianad 9th elder, Ye Xian. After this reorganization, the Ye family has a new look. Everyone is full of vigor and vitality, and they practice diligently. Li Kan and Zaowana also gave birth. Li Kan gave birth to another boy, and Zaowana gave birth to a girl. Ye Changsheng named them. The 5th one is Ye Changsheng, and the 6th one is Ye Sheng. Ye Changsheng also advanced to the 3rd level of foundation building smoothly. Although his cultivation has advanced, Ye Changsheng felt a little uneasy on a whim. He suspected that the movement was a bit too big, so he went to his grandfather Ye Jiuhu to discuss it. You are right to worry. In the past 6 months, the Ye family has promoted too many people as a whole, and 5 foundation building cultivators have been promoted smoothly. anyone would suspect that the Ye family has obtained a great opportunity. Ye Jiuhu said, "It seems that we have to make preparations. On the one hand, I can go to the Heavenly Palace to buy some special means to eliminate this influence. On the other hand, we also need to buy some powerful equipment to resist." Ye Changsheng said, "It should be so. You are very thoughtful." Ye Jiuhu agreed. After discussing with his grandfather Ye Jiuhu, Ye Changsheng had a clear plan in his mind. He returned to Changsheng Garden, sat on the Heavenly Palace altar, and silently recited the teleportation spell in his heart. He was instantly teleported to the Heavenly Palace. Ye Changsheng walked around the outermost ring of shops and found that, although there were many kinds of items here, most of them were some second level magic tools and elixirs, which could not meet his needs at all. He sighed inwardly. It seemed that he could only go to the inner ring. He continued to walk inward and came to the second to last ring of the Heavenly Palace. There were obviously fewer shops here, but many cultivators gathered in front of each shop. Obviously, the quality of the items here was much higher than that of the outermost ring. Ye Changsheng looked carefully, but still could not find a suitable method. Helplessly, Ye Changsheng could only continue to walk inward, and entered the third to last ring of the Heavenly Palace. Ye Changsheng walked on the street of the third to last ring, thinking secretly in his heart. At this level, many precious things can no longer be measured by spirit stones, and the circulation of top grade spirit stones in the world of cultivation is relatively small, so the higher the level, the more common the transaction method of barter is. Suddenly, his eyes were attracted by a shop called Ye Pavilion. Although the storefront of this shop is not big, the sign hanging at the door exudes a simple atmosphere, which is obviously a shop with a long history. Ye Changsheng walked into Ye Pavilion. The furnishings in the store were simple yet elegant. Various precious instruments and treasures were neatly placed on the counter. A middle-aged man stood behind the counter. Seeing Ye Changsheng come in, he smiled and nodded. "Dao, is there anything you need?" the middle-aged man asked. Ye Changsheng nodded and directly explained his purpose. "Our family has recently gained a lot of opportunities. The cultivators in the family have been promoted one after another. We are worried that other forces will covet us. I need a magical instrument that can hide the family's opportunities and make outsiders automatically eliminate their covetous hearts and disrupt the secrets of heaven." After hearing this, the middle-aged man smiled slightly, motioned Ye Changsheng to wait for a moment, then turned around and took out a jade from behind the counter and handed it to Ye Changsheng. "This is a jade from heaven, a 4th level magical instrument that only requires a high grade spirit stone to activate. After activating it, the people in the cultivation world below the 4th level will automatically ignore what you want to hide and can also disrupt the secrets of heaven." Ye Changsheng took the Xianji jade and looked at it carefully. He found that the jade was crystal clear and exuded a faint spiritual light. It was obviously an extremely precious magic weapon. He was secretly happy. This was exactly what he needed. "I want this Xianji jade," Ye Changsheng said. The middle-aged man smiled slightly. "The seller of this Xianji jade needs some 4th level spiritual medicines and treasures. I wonder if you have suitable exchange items." Ye Changsheng's heart moved, and he thought of the Xianling fruit in his hand. Although this kind of spiritual fruit is only the 3rd level upper grade, it is very rare and precious in the world of immortal cultivation. Maybe it can be used for exchange. "I have some Xianling fruits. I wonder if they can be exchanged?" Ye Changsheng asked tentatively. The middle-aged man nodded, took out a sound transmission jade slip, and began to communicate with the seller. After a moment, he raised his head and said with a smile, "The treasure seller said that he did need Xianling fruit, but at least 10. Ye Changsheng was delighted. Although 10 Xianling fruits were not a small number, he happened to have these spiritual fruits in his hand, so he agreed without hesitation. "Okay, I agree to the exchange." Ye Changsheng said. The middle-aged man nodded, motioned Ye Changsheng to wait for a moment, and then turned and entered the inner room. After a while, he came out with an exquisite jade box in his hand and handed it to Ye Changsheng. "This is the contract jade slip of Xianji jade. Please sign the contract and the transaction will be completed." The middle-aged man said. Ye Changsheng took the jade box, opened it, and saw that it was the Xianji jade inside. He nodded, took out 10 Xianling fruits, handed them to the middle-aged man, and then signed his name on the contract jade slip. After the transaction was completed, Ye Changsheng put Xianji jade into the storage bag, and a big stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. Ye Changsheng paid another 5,000 high-grade spirit stones to Yebao Pavilion as a transaction fee. After thanking the middle-aged man, Ye Changsheng turned and left Yebao Pavilion. Ye Changsheng returned to the real world and immediately set up the Xianji jade in his retreat room, and placed 100 high-grade spirit stones. After the Xianji jade was activated, Ye Changsheng felt a mysterious aura enveloping him, and it instantly spread to the entire Qinghu Peak and even the entire Ye family formation. After seeing the Xianji jade take effect, Ye Changsheng finally let go of his hanging heart. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96, Tide of Monsters. Just when Ye Changsheng was about to start practicing with concentration, Ye Jialang sent someone to notify Ye Changsheng of a meeting point. By the time Ye Changsheng arrived, the other 8 Foundation building elders had already arrived. The atmosphere in the conference hall was solemn. Ye Jialang stood in the center, scanning every member of the Foundation establishment family present with a serious expression. He cleared his throat and spoke slowly. Everyone, I just received news that the wave of monsters is coming. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions changed, and their hearts became heavy. The Ye family has just been established for more than 100 years, and has not experienced this once in 500-year wave of monsters. Everyone knew in their hearts that this huge wave of monsters was led by the 5th order Yashu realm demon. The wave was huge in scale, and swept across the entire Cheyenne and cultivation world. Facing such a catastrophe, the Ye family is just a small leaf in front of the tide of monsters. It may be involved in the storm at any time, and its life or death is uncertain. Ye Jialang continued, we must be fully prepared to protect the safety of the family as much as possible. Everyone must be vigilant and respond to possible crises at any time. Ye Changsheng felt heavy in his heart. After listening to Ye Jialang's words, he knew that this wave of monsters would be a huge test for the Ye family. Whether they could survive this disaster would determine the future fate of the Ye family. What's even more terrible is that the area where the Ye family is located has been developed in the past few hundred years and is adjacent to the Zilong mountain range. Once the tide of monsters comes, the Ye family will definitely bear the brunt and suffer the impact. Sure enough, more than half a month later, scattered first order monsters began to attack the Ye family's spiritual mountain. However, they were all shot to death by the patrolling Ye family disciples, and there were no casualties. Ye Changsheng found his grandfather Ye Jiuhu again to discuss. Grandpa, I have found a way to reduce the outside world's coveting of our Ye family in the Xiangang. It is a 4th level Xianji Yuju, and it is now placed in my retreat room. Ye Changsheng said, well, that's right. We've done so much. At least it's relatively safe at Qinghu Peak. Ye Jiuhu said, Grandpa, the demonic beasts have already begun to attack. I have viewed data from the past few hundred years and estimate that this wave of demonic beasts may last for decades. The first order monsters we encountered in the past few days may just be a test move. Ye Changsheng said, yes, if this continues, our Ye family will eventually be in great danger. Not only will the clan members suffer heavy casualties, but it is also a question whether our 2nd level low grade formation can block the army of monsters. It may cost a lot of money. The 2nd level spiritual lands created at the price will be lost. Ye Jiuhu said, Grandpa, I plan to give each member of the clan a Shengsen pair to increase the strength of these family monks as soon as possible before the tide of monsters officially comes. There are many other ways to enhance combat effectiveness in Xiangang. I will gradually equip my clan and relatives around me. Ye Changsheng said, okay, that's all we can do. Otherwise our Ye family will be really in danger. Ye Jiuhu said. After Ye Changsheng returned to Changsheng Garden, He immediately returned to the retreat room point with a thought. He came to the space of the true dragon immortal tree point. He directly took out 6 shanks and pear seeds, and took out the remaining 6 drops of first order fairy dew point in an instant. The 6 shanks and pear trees grew up lushly, bloomed, bore fruit, and matured. Ye Changsheng quickly took down the 216 shanks and pears and put them into an oversized jade box. Ye Changsheng left the fairy tree space, flew directly to Kingsu Peak, and found the clan leader Ye Jialong. Clan leader, these are 216 shanks and pears. Please distribute them to all the monks in the group, so that they can improve their cultivation as soon as possible before the tide of monsters comes, so as to save their lives. Ye Changsheng said, okay, I'm just looking for you, that's what I mean. I want to thank you on behalf of all the clan members. Ye Jialong said, you're welcome. This is what I should do. I wonder if you, patriarch, have any preparations here. Ye Changsheng said, I have ordered my tribe to go to the market to buy first level magic weapons, talismans, and elixirs. If you don't buy them now, they will become more expensive in a few years. Ye Jialong said. Ye Changsheng nodded. That was indeed the case. After leaving the clan leader Ye Jialong, Ye Changsheng began to concentrate on training again. Half a month passed, and Ye Changsheng came to the immortal tree space again. Another drop of second level immortal dew was generated. Ye Changsheng still chose to give birth to Zuanian fruit this time. Luwan has already built his foundation, and now he only takes the spirit gathering pill that he bought in the market to increase his cultivation. This pill is far less effective than the Zuanian fruit. Ye Changsheng estimated that the effect of taking 6 spirit gathering pills would be equivalent to that of taking 1 Zuanian fruit. After a while, a lush Zuanian fruit tree grew up, bearing 24 ripe fruits. Ye Changsheng took off all these fruits and put them into 2 jade boxes with a thought. He left the immortal tree space and turned around to the Xianglan garden adjacent to the Changsheng garden. When Ye Changsheng arrived, Luwan was personally helping the 2 little ones drink spiritual milk. Husband, you are here. Luwan smiled. You 2 little guys, please be honest. Ye Changsheng hugged Luwan with one hand and spoke affectionately. Not honest at all. This makes him look like their father. Luwan said with an angry smile. Wana, I'm here to give you a surprise this time. Ye Changsheng casually took out the jade box containing 12 Zuanian fruits. This is a holy fruit that improves the cultivation level in the early stage of foundation building. It is much more useful than your gelling pill. You can use it to improve your cultivation level. The monster tide is coming. I'm worried about you. Ye Changsheng said. It is Zuanian fruit. Luwan showed a shocked expression. Why, have you heard of it? Ye Changsheng was a little curious. Of course I have heard of it. Some time ago, I went to Fenglai market to read a lot of information, which described this Zuanian fruit that improves the cultivation level in the early stage of foundation building. The book commented that this spiritual fruit is a fine product among the second level medicines. It is hard to come by. I didn't expect my husband to get this spiritual fruit. Thank you, Wana. After speaking, Luwan gave Ye Changsheng a kiss. I also bought it. This is a family secret. Don't tell anyone. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, husband. Luwan said. By the way, Wana, what kind of spirit beast do you like? My husband, I will equip you with one before the monster beast tide officially begins. Ye Changsheng said. My husband, you are so good to me. Wana will be happy with anything you give her. Luwan happily leaned on Ye Changsheng, and the atmosphere gradually became ambiguous. After that, Luwan gave Ye Changsheng a kiss. I also bought it. This is a family secret. Don't make it public. Ye Changsheng said. Okay, my husband. Luwan said. By the way, Wana, what kind of spirit beast do you like? My husband, I will equip you with one before the monster beast tide officially begins. Ye Changsheng said. My husband, you are so good to me. Wana will be happy with anything you give her. Luwan happily leaned on Ye Changsheng, and the atmosphere gradually became ambiguous. Chapter 97 Snowfeather Magpie. Later, Ye Changsheng came to the Heavenly Palace, the True Dragon Pavilion, where he bought the spiritual beast last time. The store owner saw Ye Changsheng coming in and greeted him warmly. "Fellow Taoist, what kind of monster are you choosing this time?" the shopkeeper asked with a smile. "I want to choose a second level flying monster for my wife. Do you have any recommendations?" Ye Changsheng asked. "Of course, we have 3 flying monsters here that are very suitable for women. The first is a blue feathered crane, a second order low grade spiritual beast. It is not only beautiful, but also has extremely high flying speed. The second type is a red flame phoenix, a second order mid-level spiritual beast. Its wings can emit a dazzling light, which is very eye-catching. The third type is the snow-feathered magpie, a second order mid-level spiritual beast. This kind of monster has an elegant body and a docile personality, and is very suitable for domestication by women." The store owner explained in detail. Point after hearing this, Ye Changsheng thought carefully and finally said, "I think the snow-feathered magpie is the most suitable for my wife, so just choose it. Have a good eye." The snow-feathered magpie is indeed one of the most popular monsters among women in our store. After the store owner finished speaking, he took Ye Changsheng to the backyard to see the snow-feathered magpie. When Ye Changsheng saw the snow-feathered magpie, with feathers all over its body, like snow and gentle eyes, he instantly felt that this was the right monster for Luwan. "Just this one. I want it." "How many spiritual stones?" Ye Changsheng said with satisfaction. "Chenghu. 4,000 high-grade spiritual stones," the store owner said with a smile. Ye Changsheng took out 4,000 high-grade spiritual stones and handed them to him. The store also quickly completed the transaction procedures and handed the snow-feathered magpie to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng, who was holding the snow-feathered magpie, was in a happy mood. He thought about how happy Luwan was when he saw the snow-feathered magpie, so he couldn't wait to leave the Xianggang and go home. Ye Changsheng returned to the real world and walked into Xianglan Garden happily. He held the snow-feathered magpie in his hand, with feathers like snow and gentle eyes, as if he knew he was about to welcome a new owner. "Luwan, look what I brought you." Ye Changsheng shouted loudly. Luwan heard the sound and walked out of the retreat room quickly. When she saw the snow-feathered magpie in Ye Changsheng's hand, her eyes suddenly lit up and a bright smile broke out on her face. "Husband, is this the spiritual beast you bought for me?" Luwan asked in surprise. "Yes, Luwan, this is a second level mid-level spiritual beast snow-feathered magpie. See if it is suitable for you," Ye Changsheng said gently. "Aha." Luwan nodded excitedly as he took the snow-feathered magpie and gently stroked its feathers. "Wow, it's so beautiful and its feathers are so smooth." She couldn't help but kiss Ye Changsheng again and again on the cheek, full of gratitude and joy. "Thank you, husband, you are so good to me," Luwan said happily. "Wana, this is nothing. As long as you like it, I will try my best to get it for you," Ye Changsheng said while hugging Luwan's waist. Seeing Luwan smile, Ye Changsheng felt filled with satisfaction. He took out a demon control talisman from his arms and handed it to Luwan. "Using this talisman, you can sign a contract with the snow-feathered magpie, and it will become your close partner," Ye Changsheng explained. Luwan took the talisman and started the contract ceremony according to Ye Changsheng's instructions. She closed her eyes, concentrated, and poured her spiritual power into the talisman. The talisman gave off a faint light, and then the Zuiyu Link's eyes became more agile. The contract was successful. Luwan opened his eyes, his face full of joy. She jumped on the snow-feathered magpie's back with a slight leap, feeling its warmth and strength. "Come on, let's go fly around," Luwan said excitedly. The snow-feathered magpie spread its wings and flew high, leading Luwan to soar over Kinghu Peak. Luwan looked down at the beautiful scenery at his feet, felt the caress of the wind, and his heart was filled with freedom and happiness. She couldn't help but cheer, laughter echoing in the air. Ye Changsheng stood in the yard, looking up at Luwan flying in the sky, and his heart was filled with happiness. "Luwan, fly carefully," Ye Changsheng reminded loudly, with a doting smile on his face. "I know, husband," Luwan responded in the air, his voice full of joy. Time flies like water, and 3 months passed quickly. Just when Ye Changsheng was immersed in cultivation, another message jade talisman from the clan leader Ye Jialang came from the retreat room. Ye Changsheng hurried to the King's Peak meeting hall. When Ye Changsheng arrived, the other 8 supreme elders of the Ye family had already arrived. I just received news that our secular people in the plain below the mountain had been attacked by monsters. When they started, the First Order monsters captured a town and more than 2,000 clan members were killed. The family monk responsible for guarding the town was also killed. Ye Jialang said with a heavy face, alas. There are more than 2,000 people, which is equivalent to 1% of our secular people, and this tide of monsters has just begun. Ye Dangren said a little melancholy. Yes, if this continues, our secular clansmen will all be eaten by monsters sooner or later. Ye Jiuhu said, but our secular Ye family has more than 100 towns. We send monks from the key refining period family to guard them. They may only be able to deliver food. If we send foundation building monks to every town, there will not be enough manpower, and will it attract second level monsters in the future? That's also a problem. Ye Changsheng, the 6th Supreme Elder, said, it seems that we can only place these secular people in the mountains. Ye Jiuhu said, this is indeed the case, but with the current land on our mountain, we cannot accommodate more than 200,000 people. Ye Jialang said. Everyone fell into deep thought for a while, and no one had any good ideas. How about resettling it in the basin north of Kinghu Peak? Ye Changsheng said, the land there is big enough to support the more than 200,000 tribesmen. We can build a fairy city there. Now, there happens to be a first order mid-grade spiritual vein. Let's upgrade it to a second order low-grade spiritual vein, coupled with the second level city defense formation, and sending foundation building monks to guard it. It should be fine, and because it is close to Kingsu Peak, we can quickly provide reinforcement in case of emergency. Ye Changsheng said, of course this is good, but the amount of funds used is huge. Now the family can no longer make ends meet. Ye Dangren said, I can buy the Spirit Ascension formation, Spirit Ascension orbs, and City Protection formation, and the clan can convert them into contribution points for me. Ye Changsheng said, alas. I can only trouble you, the rich man, but after all, the family owes you too much. Ye Jialang said, clan leader, I'm doing this for the family. Why are you talking about this now? As long as the Ye family survives this tide of monsters, they will become the Zifu immortal clan sooner or later. Will they still not have the resources to exchange for me by then? Okay, that's it. I immediately ordered the 9 general affairs elders to deal with the casting of the fairy city and the relocation of secular tribesmen. All that remains is labor and immortality. After speaking, Ye Jialang saluted again. Ye Changsheng turned sideways and received half of the gift. Chapter 98 Upgrading the Array. After the meeting, Ye Changsheng quickly came to the Xiangan. He walked into the Lingshu Baozan pavilion in the outermost ring of the heavenly palace with familiarity. This is the shop where Ye Changsheng came to buy the spirit ascending array last time. As soon as Ye Changsheng entered the door, a shopkeeper wearing a blue robe walked towards him. Fellow Taoist, what formation do you want? The shopkeeper asked politely. Shopkeeper, I need a set of Lingayan Golden Spring formation, as well as the 8 matching spirit beads. Ye Changsheng directly explained his intention. The spiritual emerging Golden Spring formation is the best of the spirit ascending formations. This formation can greatly increase the speed of cultivation, and is especially suitable for places with abundant spiritual energy. The shopkeeper said, taking out a golden formation scroll and a storage bag from behind the counter, and handed it to Ye Changsheng, including these 8 spiritual beads. There are a total of 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction. After paying the spirit stone, he took the formation scroll and storage bag. In addition, I also need 2 sets of second-order high-grade formations. Ye Changsheng continued, oh. What kind of formation do you want, fellow Taoist? The shopkeeper asked. You can introduce it to me. Ye Changsheng said. The shopkeeper thought for a moment, then took down 2 formation scrolls from the shelf behind him and handed them to Ye Changsheng respectively. This set of Zuanian clan protection formation costs 3,500 high-grade spiritual stones and has extremely strong defense. It is especially suitable for use in the family's mountain protection formation. It can not only resist attacks at the 2nd level, but also enhance the concentration of spiritual energy in the formation to ensure the safety of the clan members. The shopkeeper then introduced another set of formations. This Qingxiu Phantom formation costs 4,000 high-grade spiritual stones. It can not only enhance defense, but also confuse the enemy. It is a mountain protecting formation with extremely high comprehensive performance. It can effectively resist attacks at the 2nd level high-grade level, and at the same time, uses the phantom effect to interfere with the intruder's judgment, making it very suitable as a family's protective formation. Okay, I bought it. Ye Changsheng said. Ye Changsheng took out another 7,500 high-grade spiritual stones and handed them to the shopkeeper. Then he got 2 storage bags containing 2 sets of formations. Zuanian Clan Protector Formation and Qingxiu Phantom Formation. Then Ye Changsheng left the Heavenly Palace and returned to the real world. Ye Changsheng found the clan leader Ye Jialong. Clan leader, this is the Spirit Ascension array of the Lingyang Golden Spring Formation, and there are 8 Spirit Ascension beads. These can enhance the spiritual veins that will build the Ye family immortal city. Ye Changsheng said, thank you, Changsheng. When this fairy city is established, our Ye family will also be worried about it. Ye Jialong said, I know that the tide of monsters will be difficult to survive, so I exchanged for a 2nd order high-grade formation Zuanian Clan Protector Formation, which can replace the family's 2nd order low-grade formation. The family's 2nd order formation can be placed in Go to Ye Family Fairy City. Ye Changsheng said, okay, with the 2nd level high-grade formation, now I'm a little more sure that our Ye family can survive the tide of monsters safely. Ye Jialong said a little excitedly, now, if you can enhance the family's ability, just enhance it. Ye Changsheng nodded and said. He is clearly not so optimistic. By the way, Changsheng, how much are these 2 formations worth? Ye Jialong said, clan leader, just give me a contribution of 500,000 yuan. Ye Changsheng said, okay, the Changsheng Ye family is grateful to have you. Ye Jialong said, we are all a family. We can't say this. The family fairy city needs to speed up. I heard that there are a lot more 1st order monsters near our family. Ye Changsheng asked, yes, the matter is a bit urgent. I have asked the other 6 supreme elders to work together to help build the fairy city, with them cutting stones into bricks and pointing the ground into mud. The project has been sped up a lot. Now most of the family members have been sent to the construction site by me. Ye Jialong said, okay, then I'm relieved. Ye Changsheng said. After continuing to chat about clan affairs with clan leader Ye Jialong for a while, Ye Changsheng left. Later, Ye Changsheng came to Ye Jiuhu's tiger garden at Qinghu Peak. Grandpa, I purchased a 2nd order low-grade spirit ascending formation from the Xiangang, and a 2nd order high-grade clan protection formation, and gave it to the clan leader. This can also ensure the safety of the family to a certain extent. Ye Changsheng said, yes, in the face of the tide of monsters and beasts, with the 2nd level high-grade formation, the safety has indeed been enhanced a lot. Ye Jiuhu said, Grandpa, I actually bought 2 high-grade 2nd level formations. The other one is better, called the Qingxiu Phantom Formation, and I plan to place it in our Qinghu Peak. Ye Changsheng said, taking out the storage bag containing the Qingxiu Phantom array. Okay, now our Qinghu Peak is more secure. To be honest, before this wave of monsters, I didn't have any confidence at all. No matter how great the opportunity is, it will basically have no effect against opponents with higher cultivation levels. We have to have a way out. Ye Jiuhu looked at Ye Changsheng thoughtfully and said, Grandpa, I know, I will do it. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and said, by the way, Grandpa, I want to teach the Purple Mansion Immortality scripture to Luan. Is that okay? Ye Changsheng asked, this is your opportunity. As long as Luan is banned, you can teach it if you want. Oh. I didn't expect you to really love women, Ye. Jiuhu joked. Then, I'll quickly find someone to set up our new mountain protection formation. It just so happens that Ye Jialan didn't dare to arrange tasks for me these past few days. I have to get busy too, Ye. Jiuhu said rather cunningly. Haha, okay, Grandpa. Ye Changsheng also knew that his family had a transcendent status in the Ye family. After all, it was his family that brought the Ye family up to the foundation level point. Moreover, the person with the highest level of cultivation in the family is also his grandfather Ye Jiuhu point. The most powerful deterrent is also the second level high grade King Feng Peng point. Even if his own family dominates the entire Ye family, everyone in the Ye family will have to support it with both hands. However, Ye Changsheng and his grandfather Ye Jiuhu just didn't want to get into trouble, so when something happened, the clan would not assign tasks to their family point. But it's okay, as the Ye family builds more and more foundations, it doesn't matter whether the 3 foundation builders of Ye Jiuhu's family can do the work or not. Ye Changsheng turned around and came to Xianglanyu and Luan was practicing, and was very happy to see Ye Changsheng coming. Husband, if you don't come to see one of these days, where will you be busy? Luan said angrily. I've been busy upgrading the family formation these days. By the way, in the next few days, our King Hu Peak and the entire Ye family will upgrade the formation to the second level high grade. Then, we will be safer from the tide of monsters, Ye Changsheng said. Second level high grade formation. Luan was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the Ye family had only advanced to the foundation building power for a few years, but they had quickly advanced to the second level high level power. 2 second level high level clan protection formations, plus a second level high level King Feng Peng, are already a second level high level force. Chapter 99. New look of the family. Yes, by the way, if you feel that your relatives are unsafe in the Lu family, I can send someone to take them to live in our King Hu Peak. Ye Changsheng said. Luan's eyes moved and nodded. Thank you, husband. Wana has had this idea for a long time. After all, the Lu family's family protection formation is only the second level lower grade. Wana's parents and family are all mortals. They may not be able to enter the Lu family for refuge in an emergency. Of course it's good to live in the Ye family. Thank you, husband. Luan kissed Ye Changsheng sweetly. Ye Changsheng hugged Luan. Wana, your husband wants to teach you a more advanced family technique, but this is a family secret. You can't pass it on. More advanced techniques, Wana will of course not pass it on. Thank you, husband. Luan said excitedly. This is a 4th level technique called Zifu Changsheng Sutra, which has a profound purpose. I heard that the complete technique reaches the 6th level. This is one of the biggest secrets of the Ye family, Ye Changsheng said solemnly. As Ye Changsheng spoke, he took out the jade slip and handed it to Luan. Luan took the jade slip, her hands trembling. Thank you, husband. Wana doesn't know how to thank you. Luan bowed deeply and said, tears filling her eyes. Silly girl, you are one of my greatest treasures, Ye Changsheng. As long as I have, I want to give you the best. We are husband and wife, how can we say these polite words? Ye Changsheng comforted. Come on, come here quickly, I will explain to you the mystery of this technique. Luan walked into Ye Changsheng's arms obediently. Time flies. 3 months have passed. With the unremitting efforts of the Ye family, after months of hard construction, the second level fairy city of the Ye family was finally completed. This magnificent city stands on the earth, exuding an awe-inspiring momentum. The city wall is 10 feet high and indestructible. Ordinary land-based first level monsters cannot jump to such a height at all. The city wall is made of high quality bluestone that is 1 foot square. Each stone has been carefully selected and polished, perfectly fitting together to form a solid barrier. The surface of the city wall is engraved with exquisite defense and attack formations. Although they are only of the first level, the defense of the city wall has been greatly improved with the blessing of the formation. If the enemy wants to break through this city, it will pay a huge price. The entire fairy city is surrounded by 4 walls, each of which is 10 miles long, like a giant dragon surrounding the city. There is an arrow tower at every distance on the city wall, and the guards patrol day and night to ensure the safety of the city. The interior of the fairy city is well planned, with wide and flat roads, and rows of markets and residential areas on both sides. There are all kinds of shops and a wide variety of goods, attracting merchants and tourists from all over the world. The houses in the residential area all adopt the architectural style of white walls and black tiles, which complements the surrounding environment. The city lord's mansion is located in the center of the fairy city, with a magnificent momentum and a large scale. It is a second level spiritual land surrounded by rich spiritual energy. The buildings in the mansion are exquisite, and every detail shows the status of the Ye family as a foundation building fairy clan. Hidden inside the 10-foot thick city wall is a second level lower grade city defense formation. This formation can not only enhance the defense of the city wall, but also release a powerful attack force at a critical moment to resist the invasion of foreign enemies. More than 200,000 secular clansmen of the Ye family have also moved to this fairy city. In order to accommodate these clansmen, the Ye family planned several residential areas in the city, each of which is equipped with complete infrastructure, including schools, clinics, markets, etc., to ensure that the clansmen live a worry-free life. The Ye family also set up a clan management agency to handle the daily affairs of the clansmen and maintain order in the city. Outside the city is the Qianli Plain, a vast land that is fertile and rich, suitable for large-scale agricultural production. The Ye family has begun to organize clansmen to reclaim this plain, and plans to reclaim hundreds of thousands of hectares of fertile land. These fertile fields can not only grow various food crops, but also some spiritual herbs and medicinal herbs to provide guarantee for the cultivation resources of the Ye family. According to estimates, this piece of fertile land is enough to feed millions of people and ensure sufficient food supply in the fairy city. In order to better develop this plain, the Ye family also sent an exploration team composed of monks and mortals to go deep into every corner of the plain to find suitable land for reclamation and potential resources. In addition, the Ye family also plans to establish multiple farms and pastures on the plain, develop a variety of agriculture and animal husbandry, and ensure the diversification of the material supply of the fairy city. The monks of the Ye family also actively participated in these constructions. They use their cultivation and magic to speed up the process of reclamation and construction. The second level superior formation of the Ye family, Zuanine Protection Clan Formation, has been successfully arranged. From this moment on, the King's Ye family has officially been promoted to a second level superior force. At the same time, the second grade upper grade formation King Xiao Phantom Formation of King Hu Peak also replaced the previous Xianai Thunder Lightning Formation, making King Hu Peak look brand new and extraordinary. Ye Changsheng specially sent people to bring the families of the 3 wives, Luan, Li Qian and Zhao Weina, to King Hu Peak and properly settled them at the bottom of the peak point. Since the top of King Hu Peak has a second grade lower grade spiritual vein, and the bottom of the peak is mostly a first grade middle grade spiritual land, Ye Changsheng spent contribution points to build 3 small manors at these spiritual veins in order to make the Ye family live a worry-free life. Ye Changsheng would allocate a certain amount of contribution points every year, instructing his servants to exchange them for supplies and cultivation resources, and take good care of these relatives. This thoughtful move by Ye Changsheng touched the 3 women very much, and they were grateful to him. Seeing this, Uncle Ye Xianai also took his father-in-law and mother-in-law to King Hu Peak without stopping, and built a small manor here. Ye Changsheng expressed his strong support for this, and directly allocated 100,000 contribution points to Uncle Ye Xianai, asking him to take good care of the Liu family. Although it does not take so many contribution points to support the Liu family, Ye Changsheng took into account that Uncle Ye Xianai had a large family, and it would not work without some family contribution points, so he gave him so much. Aunt Liu Kana was also grateful to Ye Changsheng for this. In order to be fair, Ye Changsheng also allocated 50,000 contribution points to Aunt Yi Xianayin, 100,000 contribution points to Luan, and 50,000 contribution points to Li Qian and Zhao Weina respectively. For a while, the family was filled with laughter and harmony, and Ye Changsheng was also happy. After settling the affairs at home, Ye Changsheng came to the heavenly palace again. With the coming of the monster tide, he felt that the means of attack in his hands were still insufficient, so he planned to make some changes to the spirit beasts, because his three-legged fire crow was a cub of a 4th level monster, and was a natural king among the fire crows. He planned to use this to buy a large number of three-legged fire crows for his own fire crows to subdue. Chapter 100 Three-legged fire crows. He came to the outermost ring of the heavenly palace, and asked for a long time. Finally, he found out at a spiritual beast store called Qianling Pavilion. My fellow Taoist, our store can sell 1st level 3-legged fire crows, but we don't sell them individually. We sell them in groups. The shopkeeper of Qianling Pavilion said. After hearing the shopkeeper's words, Ye Changsheng became very interested in the composition of the three-legged fire crow group, so he asked, I don't know what the composition of the three-legged fire crow group in your store is. What is the approximate number and price? The shopkeeper smiled and replied, we currently have 3 groups of three-legged fire crows to choose from. The composition of each group is similar. A small part is 1st level upper grade fire crows, accounting for about 6 to 7% of the group. About 3/10 are 1st level middle grade fire crows, and the remaining 60 to 70% are 1st level lower grade fire crows. The total number of the 3 groups is 1,839, 2,057 and 2,057 respectively. 1,241. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, then please tell me the specific number and price of the 3 groups separately. The shopkeeper took 3 books from the shelf behind him, opened one of them, and read. The first group has a total of 2,057 three-legged fire crows, including 132 1st grade high quality fire crows, 385 1st grade medium quality fire crows, and 1,540 low quality fire crows. According to our price, each 1st grade high quality fire crow costs 25 high quality spirit stones, each 1st grade medium quality fire crow costs 10, and each low quality fire crow costs 5. The total price is 13,800 high quality spirit stones. Then the shopkeeper opened the second booklet. The second group has a total of 1,839, including 110 1st grade high quality fire crows, 330 medium quality crows, and 1,399 low quality crows. The total price is 10,045 high quality spirit stones. Finally, the third booklet. The third group has a total of 2,241, including 155 1st grade high quality fire crows, 418 medium quality crows, and 1,668 low quality crows. The total price is 14,635 high quality spirit stones. What do you think? Ye Changsheng thought carefully for a moment and said, let's take the third group with the largest number. Although the price is slightly higher, the quantity is the most sufficient and more suitable for my needs. The shopkeeper closed the booklet and smiled. Okay, you really have a good eye for pearls. The quality and quantity of the fire crows in this third group are the best. I believe it will definitely help you to show your power. Ye Changsheng nodded, took out 14,635 high quality spirit stones from the storage ring, handed them to the shopkeeper, and said, this is the spirit stone, please count it. The shopkeeper took the spirit stone, counted it carefully, and smiled after confirming that it was correct. Thank you for your patronage. After the shopkeeper finished speaking, he sent someone to get the three-legged fire crow group. After a while, the clerk handed the shopkeeper an extra large monster bag. After checking the quantity, the shopkeeper handed it to Ye Changsheng. After Ye Changsheng checked it, he felt that there was no problem, so he thanked the shopkeeper and left Qianling Pavilion with satisfaction. After leaving the heavenly palace, Ye Changsheng quickly returned to the real world. Ye Changsheng left the retreat room and came to the back mountain of Qinghu Peak. He used the soul contract to call back Xiaoho, who was hunting outside. Zioho was the name Ye Changsheng gave to the three-legged fire crow in the foundation building period. After Ye Changsheng told the three-legged fire crow his request, the three-legged fire crow nodded excitedly. It seems that it has wanted to be the king for a long time, and it is in need of a group of younger brothers. Seeing Zioho's eager eyes, Ye Changsheng chuckled and quickly took out the super large monster bag and released the more than 2,000 three-legged fire crows in the key refining period. Ye Changsheng opened the super large monster bag, and suddenly more than 2,000 three-legged fire crows in the key refining period poured out like a tide, instantly dyeing the sky behind the king, who peak into a fiery red. The fire crows flew everywhere, making harsh cries, and the scene was in chaos for a while. Zioho, show your majesty, Ye Changsheng said to the three-legged fire crow beside him. Zioho nodded, then spread his wings and soared into the sky. Its figure expanded rapidly in the air, and the aura of the foundation building period spread out like a tide. The powerful pressure instantly enveloped the entire back mountain. The fire crows that were originally flying around felt the pressure, stopped their movements, and looked at Zioho in horror. Zioho made a deafening cry, with endless majesty and command in his voice. More than 2,000 fire crows trembled under this pressure, gradually gathered together, and formed a huge group of fire crows. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction and quietly observed Zioho's performance. Zioho circled in the air, then slowly landed on a huge rock, looking down at the group of fire crows below. It made a series of complex calls, as if communicating with these fire crows. After a while, the group of fire crows began to respond, and gradually became uniform. Ye Changsheng knew that this was Zioho conveying his orders and intentions to these fire crows. As time went on, the fire crows gradually calmed down and bowed their heads to show their submission. Seeing this scene, Ye Changsheng smiled with satisfaction. He knew that Zioho had successfully subdued these fire crows. Next, he needed to provide these fire crows with a suitable habitat. Ye Changsheng took out 2 mature fire hibiscus from the fairy tree space. These were the second-level superior spiritual plants that he had carefully cultivated in the true dragon fairy tree space before. The fire hibiscus has a great attraction and enhancement effect on fire-attributed spirit beasts, and is an ideal habitat for the three-legged fire crow. He transplanted 2 fire hibiscus to the open space on the back mountain of Kinghu Peak. The branches and leaves of the fire hibiscus flashed a fiery red light in the sun, exuding a rich fire-attributed aura. The three-legged fire crows smelled this aura, and they all chirped excitedly, and couldn't wait to fly to the fire hibiscus under Zioho's command. The fire crows settled on the 2 fire hibiscus in an orderly manner. Their figures shuttled between the branches and leaves of the fire hibiscus, forming a beautiful picture. Ye Changsheng looked at all this, and felt a sense of accomplishment in his heart. Zioho, you did a good job, Ye Changsheng said with appreciation. Zioho chirped proudly, flew back to Ye Changsheng's shoulder, and rubbed his cheek intimately. Ye Changsheng gently stroked Zioho's feathers, feeling extremely satisfied in his heart. With more than these 2,000 three-legged fire crows, his strength will be greatly enhanced. The three-legged fire crows had a habitat, but they were still short of food. Ye Changsheng returned to the retreat room, and with a thought, he instantly entered the true dragon Immortal Tree space. He walked to an open space, waved his hand lightly, and 20 seeds of the sun spirit sunflower were evenly scattered on the soil. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.